Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to get to over these next 3 hours. We've got the high major conference tournament starting with the ACC and the Big 12 kicking off today. We had AAC awards unveiled earlier this morning. Grizzlies, they beat the Suns last night. More NFL news coming out. Plenty to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, to the shocker of, I would say, almost no one. Penny Hardaway, unanimous. Coach, it was unanimous, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was unanimous. I'm sure it was, but, all I know is he won the award.
If it wasn't, whoever voted against him should never vote for anything again, from dog catcher on up or down.
Yeah. And
he should win, and everybody thought he would win. Over the weekend, a couple, I think, trying just to be the different guy. And, including the TV Mark Adams, not the coaching Mark Adams, Enthusiasm Adams on Twitter, and he's just a royal buffoon, I think, on the games. He was trying to make a case for the Tulane coach. I mean, that's just trying way too hard. Penny Hardaway won it in a cakewalk. He should have, and his players took home a lot of hardware as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You had P.J. Haggerty, like you mentioned, Player of the Year, Dane Danger, Newcomer of the Year, and then both those guys, P.J. Haggerty, Dane Danger, as well as Tyrese Hunter, all named to the All-AAC first team, which 10 guys on the All-AAC first team and second team, which I think is ridiculous. 20 guys total on the first two teams. That is absurd. I mean, that's half the league is on one of the teams. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I've never seen that many people on a first or a second
I'm sure Josh
team.
Pastner wants 20.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Everybody can feel good and comfy about themselves. Not just because the SEC did it, but did you see what the SEC did?
I did not.
All the teams, first, second, third, 5 people. That's it.
It should be. I mean,
that's the way it is.
I don't know why we have gotten away from it and putting 6 guys, 7 guys, 10 guys on a first team. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, Brian. Let's play some simple math for our audience, which I don't want to. I never ever want to insult our audience's intelligence ever. But first team All-American AP football team, how many should be on the offense?
The amount that are on the field. I mean, it should be 11 guys on the first team.
Let's take a wild guess. 2 tackles, 2 guards, a center, a tight end, a couple wide receivers, a couple running backs, and a quarterback.
Sure.
About 11 on defense.
Yeah, sure.
All NBA should be 5. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I can't – so many things about the baseball all-star game that are repulsive that could be easily fixed, like all right, I know now the rosters are really night in, night out, about 27, sometimes even that functional 28. Okay, for the All-Star game, let's make it 30.
Yeah.
Not 35.
No.
There's no need for that.
No.
And that's big money, and when the players so whine about the big, mean owners and big, mean management and play the class warfare game, and just about every sports person falls right in line, that's pretty big money being designated an all-star, and you get that bonus even if you don't go to the game. All those years Tom Brady did not go to the Pro Bowl, he was still collecting bonuses and had that on his bona fides.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And so I
say if you don't show, you're not.
Yeah. I don't understand why we're wanting to put more than should be. But
in a graduating class, one valedictorian,
that's right.
A salutatorian.
Yeah, that's right.
It's called first and second.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Because this came out right when Dave was ending his show today and when John was getting ready to start his show today. It came out, and I hadn't seen the actual. I don't think the American had sent out the email to all the media members and had put it on their website, I believe, but they had not put the graphics out on social media. And so I'm standing there with John, with Dave. I go, oh, Jason Munz is tweeting out that the conference awards. So I'm going through them, and I go PJ Haggerty first team, Dane Danger first team. I go Tyrese Hunter first team. I go, wow, that's really good.
Domination.
Wow.
Should have been.
And then I see, and then I get to my car, and I'm finally scrolling through Twitter, and I see that they had just posted 10 guys. Well, of course Memphis is going to get 3 guys on there when there's 10 people on the first team. Just absolutely ridiculous. Just another, I think, black eye of this conference. I mean, what a joke.
And we're running
out
of eyes.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, you're a joke of a conference when you have 10 guys on the first team. That's crazy.
I mean, this is Tony Conigliaro black eye stuff, and that's the all-time black eye. He got beaned by who beaned him? Jack Fisher. Somebody beaned him in the late '60s and almost lost his eye over it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But that's what this league is. Now, did you see just a few minutes ago? The Big 12 announced for next year going back to 18 conference games, skewing the 20. And I think everybody should go back, and the AAC never should go to 20, should back up from 18.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I did not see that earlier today, but
just a few minutes ago.
Doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't, and I think we're gonna get news from all these conferences with conference championship week going on. But no, that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, I'm just not much of a tie person. Just like when we do grading, I'm not much for the pluses and minuses because it's almost always a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
A tie is almost always a cop out. Decide. The world will march right on with or without who gets left out.
Yeah, no, it will, and you're right. But I'm looking. It does not look like Penny Hardaway was unanimous. I can't tell for
That's
sure.
sad.
But it does not look like Penny Hardaway was the unanimous vote.
Who voted? Is this media or is this
coaches.
coaching?
It was the coaches that voted for this.
Yeah, well, that's a really
All
dumb coach who didn't do that. I hope Penny blasted whoever didn't vote for him. And again, I wish it was all revealed so we would know who didn't, and then Penny could beat them by about 40 down in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I just want to see the votes because, I mean, I'm looking at this and it has all the things out there, and for all conference first and second team, it has a little symbol beside them if they were unanimous, and but for none of the awards have any symbol beside them. So I'm guessing that means none of them were unanimous decisions. But I'd just like to see the votes
Brian,
of them.
Right now, for anybody going, a vote is a private thing. No, your vote at a ballot box is a private thing. Now, you can tell how you voted if you would like. That's your business. But in the public realm, for stuff that's running in the vast public, like in the media or in the coaching world, it should be revealed. All these votes should be. Every single vote around sports should be known how the person did, and you have a record to show exactly how you voted.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's very simple to print off that PDF.
Oh, yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think it'd be good to kind of see how everyone's voting. But we mentioned all of that, but also Dane Danger and Tyrese Hunter also, I should mention, earned a spot on the AAC's all-newcomer team, which is a hilarious team to have, the all-newcomers team. That's such a that's like this era of college athletics, have the newcomer team.
Now, yeah, it really is. And some of them are real newcomers and will be outgoers.
That's right, yeah.
really soon. Now, almost rich with irony, talking about, kind of zero-sum game. You're either valedictorian or salutatorian. We have the breaking news in the last 10, 15 minutes of yet another injury to the great Tiger Woods, ruptured Achilles, which I would dare say it would easily knock him out 8, 10, 12 months at the very best. At almost any age, it would do that, but especially come this December 30th, a birthday cake that will have 50 candles on it.
Crazy.
Tiger turning 50 December 30th.
Yeah. No doctor am I, but I don't think you're think you're bouncing back from an Achilles at age 50 like you are at age 24. So
the debate is this. And after Mr. Valedictorian Salutatory, Mr. Reveal All Votes, I'm not going to, but I think I can make a really strong case and argue either side of the greatest ever, Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods. I would not, if somebody gave me you got to take this side and gave me either one,
Yeah.
I think I can make the case. Same with Coach Bryant and Coach Nick Saban. I think I could make the case for either one. But just like with Coach Bryant and Coach Saban, with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, I'm not getting into that because I don't want to get near having to rip on the other one or even slightly denigrate the other one in making the other case, and you almost always have to do that when you get left with kind of those two options of GOAT, of best ever, of all time. Now, in Coach Saban's case over Coach Bryant, he does have more national champions.
That's right.
In Jack Nicklaus's case, he does have more majors.
That's, yeah. Now,
and that's what we played for.
Yeah.
And that was Tiger's stated goal of that poster up and that marker of getting to 18, and he didn't, and he's not going to. Well, 15 was really good.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. We'll call it a tie, Brett. You know, we won't even have to. We only have to settle it. We'll just call it a tie.
Just the push, the Nick Mackay push.
That's right. We'll just
Okay.
hey, they're both great. They're all great. You know?
And they are. It's really ironic. All four of those people, I got to watch all of Nick Saban and Tiger Woods' career, and a whole bunch of Coach Bryant and Jack Nicklaus's career, and two Bears, Golden Bear and the Bear.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And Nick Saban was an LSU Tiger for a while.
That's true. Yeah. So wow, how about that? All the connections.
Wow.
They're right
I
there
didn't
in
mean
front
to do
of
all
you.
this.
No, but they're right there for you. No, I mean those are four great guys to watch, and you can call yourself lucky for being able to see all four of those guys.
I think all of us in sports, to be able to see Tiger Woods in that run, and it's over. It's been over. 2019 at Augusta was so special. Didn't really think that would happen.
Right.
Sure didn't think, number 16 would happen. Kind of hoping it maybe at St. Andrews, always at Augusta National. It was something about driving down Magnolia Lane for him as he caught another gear, just like it did for Jack Nicklaus. But with more injuries, more surgeries, and you just think of the number of times for Tiger Woods that he's been put under to have a surgical procedure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's over these last couple years. It's been a ton, and so it's weird because when I saw that today, it was almost kind of like, oh, okay, like it didn't shock me. Again. It was just like here we go. There it is again, and so it's sad, and I hate it. At least we saw him in TGL, right? We got to see him in.
I didn't.
Well, you did. It's a shame, but I guess he will not be participating anymore. No, it really is sad because I think a lot of people, wanted to, like you said, it's been done, but it felt like, all right, one more, let's see you go through one more year of the majors and kind of go out with a bang, and then to see it end like this is really, really tough. Speaking of seeing things. Brett, you saw the Cam Spencer game last night. I mean, it was incredible.
I saw the Cam Spencer game, and so maybe last night wasn't as good as 2 weeks ago tonight for Grizzlies and Phoenix. Last night was really good.
It's pretty good. That was pretty good. I'd take it, If you just tell me to take a game, I'd take that one.
Big win in the Cam Spencer game, and he brought it. Season high, 16 points, career high.
Yeah, no, he is. He can score it
in a rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody had any question about him scoring the ball, and he got that opportunity with all of the injuries. We talked about it yesterday before we got off air of just the guys that could be out, and we didn't really know until after the show yesterday. Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Vince Williams Jr. all listed as questionable leading up to that game. It was announced a little after 6 that none of those guys would be able to go. So that meant all three of those guys out. We knew Jaron was going to be out. We knew Luke Kennard was going to be out. We knew Santi Aldama was going to be out. So that meant you needed some of those guys deep on the bench, some guys that don't get a whole lot of run to step up. And you got that last night. Jay Huff in the starting lineup had a big impact. Lamar Stevens coming off the bench had a huge impact. Cam Spencer was great. And even Marvin Bagley, some of the minutes he gave you last night were pretty good. So, those guys really stepped up. And then to see Cam Spencer, the rookie, not back down and want to kind of step up to Kevin Durant and chirp a little bit to him. That was really fun to watch.
What a special night for him. And like you said, we leave at 6, we don't know it. Get to the building, find it out, and go, oh my! Look at the possible combinations that are out there. And the proverbial you can send to a friend, look at the 5 on the floor right now.
Yeah.
Almost any time that John Concher's on the floor, you can send that out to a friend. And can you believe this 5's on the floor?
Mm-hmm.
But last night, it was some mysterious 5s out there.
Yes, it was. But they had the answer, which was really fun to see. And I tell you, we say it all the time. You can probably say it every game you watch them. Cam Spencer is Dan Hurley. I mean, he is definitely his college coach. I mean, that fire, that intensity, he has it, and he's not scared of anybody. He's not going to back down to nobody.
I bet you he loves him.
Oh, man. Yes, absolutely. And you could definitely see how those two work together at UConn, because they are two peas in a pod. But really fun to watch him, and got the technical for going at Kevin Durant. And then after the game, everybody on the team wants to pay his technical fine. I mean, both John Morant and Desmond Bain said, I'm paying it. And it's the $2,000 fine. I'm going to go ahead and pay it.
I bet he'd go, I'll just take it. Y'all all donate, and I'll make ssure the league gets the money.
That's right. Yeah, no. I think Cam Spencer had a quote after they told him, hey, both Ja and Desmond, want to pay for your technical. I think he said something like, well, I'll probably be getting more of them, so I hope they want to keep paying for those technicals. But that's just the fire he's playing with. Grizzlies, a good win last night, 120-118. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Matt Infield from Action News 5. He'll join us. We'll talk Tigers with him. We'll talk about the awards that came out for the American and what this conference tournament will look like for the Tigers. 3:45, we'll get back into the Grizzlies conversation. Talk about their win last night over Phoenix. After that 4-game losing streak, you've now won 3 games in a row, a 120-118 win over Phoenix last night. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He'll join us. We'll talk some college football and college basketball with the ACC tournament getting kicked off earlier today. 4:30, we'll talk a whole lot of college basketball, a little update on all the tournaments that are going on last night and today. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant. He joins us every week to talk the NFL. Perfect time to talk with Bo with just the flurry of NFL news coming out between yesterday and today. So much news to get to with Bo Marchant. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's their first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on right now at Family Leisure. Pools from $19.99. Spas from $29.99. Cold plunge and swim spas, they're priced to move. And don't forget about the patio furniture. Patio furniture sets at Family Leisure starting at $799. Stop by today and sign up to register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set only at Family Leisure. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Landon Schmidt, we are Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock. He's Bryant, I'm Brett, and we want you to join us by texting or calling at 901-360-8255. That's at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always in our Family Leisure studio, especially on a spring day like this one, and always this first hour brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. They are at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they want you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. Great offers on all the 2025 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the Grizzlies and their win last night over the Phoenix Suns. If I came in today, everyone's blind, nobody saw the game last night, and I said the Grizzlies rolled out a starting lineup that included G.G. Jackson and Jay Huff, and Cam Spencer, Lamar Stevens, and Marvin Bagley Jr. all played 20 or more minutes, you'd probably say that's probably a big loss, especially against a team that has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. But that wasn't the case last night. A 120-118 win for the Grizzlies over the Suns. And those guys I just mentioned all made a big impact in the game. If you go back to those 2 wins going into last night, it was the Ja Morant and Desmond Bane show. Ja Morant was good last night, 29 points, 12 assists, added 4 rebounds. But Desmond Bane, a little bit of an off night for him. He did fill it up, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, but only 10 points for him, 4 for 11 from the field. They needed other guys to step up, and those guys that have been deep on the bench, they were there to step up. Cam Spencer, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, knocked down 4 3-pointers. Lamar Stevens, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 4 3-pointers. Jay Huff, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 3-pointers. Those 3 guys combined for 12 of the Grizzlies' 17 made 3-pointers and made a huge impact on that game. We talked about it already, but Cam Spencer, the energy he brings, the fire that he plays with. I mean, there were a couple times where, I think a ball got knocked out of bounds. He turns around, looks at Kevin Durant, starts chirping him, and then we all know what happened a couple minutes later when he drains the corner 3. Immediately looks at Kevin Durant, starts chirping. Kevin Durant obviously took exception.
Well, that's a set of stones,
that.
isn't it?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, you've got to. You're pretty bold to do that to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant immediately looked like he tried to trip him, stuck his finger in his face, then obviously
hit him in the stomach to begin with.
See, I didn't see that. I've heard everybody say that today.
Yeah.
I missed that last night, but obviously Desmond Bane sticking up for his teammate. He gets in his face, goes forehead to forehead with Kevin Durant, and we get a couple technicals, one on Cam Spencer, one on Kevin Durant. But you love to see the young rookie playing like that, and you love to see another Grizzlies win, especially with all of those injuries. We talked about it. I mean, seeing that injury report, it kind of brought back memories of last year and earlier this season with Jaren, Luke Kennard, Santi Aldama, Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Vince
It felt
Williams.
like last year's games.
It did. I mean, seeing those guys come off the bench and make an impact, it was, I'll be honest, when I heard that all those guys were out and saw
2 big differences, though. Morant and Bane in there at the end.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's huge. That's the big difference from last year. But I'll be honest with you, Brett. Last night after we left here, when I'm driving home and I see the tweet that comes out that all those guys are out, I go, ugh. It's going to be tough tonight. This is probably going to be a loss for the Grizzlies, but they proved me wrong. They played great, and they got a big win over the Suns. Now 4-0 against the Suns this year.
Brian, is it me or is every year the first game of the ACC tournament Pitt and Notre Dame in a 1-point game?
It feels like it.
Doesn't it?
A tradition
Seriously.
unlike any other. It does. I mean, you talk about those teams, and it feels like they have a tendency to meet in the tournament and play very close games in the tournament.
Notre Dame just one by one.
Yeah.
My top story, all-day basketball from 11:30 in Kansas City at the Big 12 tournament till late tonight at the West Coast Conference tournament. Today in Kansas City, Arizona State and UCF playing in Kansas City today at the Big 12 tournament. Okay, if only the Tigers were there instead of Dickies Arena this week. Not wild about the AAC tournament coming here next year. Don't really even know why it's doing that. It will be poorly attended. 1 year ago, we didn't draw for the NCAA tournament. So what's going to be the big difference? And now these to see these teams, Rice, UTSA, ECU, and Charlotte. But if I never, ever, ever hear after this week Dickies Arena again in my life, I'll be just fine.
Dickies Arena. I mean, we at the end of this week, Brett, on Friday, we've got to give an ovation to Dickies Arena and the job that they've done for the American.
And see you when we see you, Dickies
See you
Arena.
never. We'll see you never.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be the awards that were announced earlier this morning for the American Athletic Conference. And I don't think, especially here, no surprises when you look at the award winners. Penny Hardaway wins Coach of the Year. Obviously, the job he did this year in that conference, especially the way that his teams have struggled at times in this conference to go out there and do what he did this year, there's no question that he should be Coach of the Year. PJ Haggerty, what he did as a player for the Tigers, second year in this conference, I don't think it was a big surprise that he won
those
Player of the
coaches
Year.
should be asked at those media availabilities who they voted for.
Yeah. Just sit a reporter in there. That if they only get one question all day, it's just every coach. Who did you vote for
I
Coach
bet
of
you
the
get
Year?
a bunch of questions in.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can. Especially some of those coaches. You might have the whole press conference to yourself. But Dane Danger, newcomer of the year, I think definitely deserves that one. I mean, what he did, especially when the Tigers put him in the starting lineup. But maybe the surprise: 3 Tigers on the All AAC first team. But then you understand it when you realize a 10-man first team and second team. That was Haggerty, Danger, and Tyrese Hunter on that first team. Also, Danger and Hunter earning spots on the All AAC newcomer team. Tigers, they eat up at the award ceremony. Obviously deserve best team in the conference. And now we'll see what they can do starting Friday.
My not top story, Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the move again. He's going to be somewhere new next year after one game and one full season with the Jets. Post the Jets, it didn't work very well for Joe Namath in Los Angeles. Only played about 4 or 5 games, but it did work for Brett Favre post the Jets. He got all the way to a conference championship game and shoulda, coulda won over Drew Brees and the Saints and gotten the Vikings in a Super Bowl, but he didn't. Favre made it work. I think Rodgers can make it work in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody can make it work next year for the Giants.
Yeah, Giants, that one seems like it is, you just got to take the job if you need a job. I don't know anybody that would want to go and be the starting quarterback for the Giants. But we'll ask Bo in a couple hours what he thinks about Aaron Rodgers and if he can get the job done in Pittsburgh. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking Tigers with Matt Infield.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 912-715-5199.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, and shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Honey, what?
There's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do? Get down.
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy. But with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in most states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, and gemstones to watches. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com and Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough from everyone home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and 96.3.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of accidents in their clearing stages. Here's what we're seeing. A little bit of heavier traffic in the last few minutes. Certain sections of Sam Cooper going outbound. It's stop and go as you come off 240 onto Lamar as that traffic heads back out towards Olive Branch. Hey, if your yard needs some help this time of the year, don't worry. Lawn Solutions is here with 30 years experience. Call Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Red Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some Tigers, Matt Infield from Action News 5 joins us now. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. We had the AAC Awards announced earlier today. Tigers did extremely well. Penny Hardaway, Coach of the Year. PJ Haggerty, Player of the Year. Dane Danger, Newcomer of the Year. Haggerty, Danger, and Tyrese Hunter, all first-team all-conference selections. Danger and Hunter also on the all-newcomer team. What did you make of the awards that were announced this morning?
That's what I expected. Penny joked with us on the show a couple weeks ago. He thought the whole starting five should be first-team all-conference. Pretty close. Not quite there, but pretty close to it. Getting 3 or 5 on there is definitely awesome. I mean, PJ Haggerty as Player of the Year seemed pretty obvious to me. I mean, one of the most impactful transfers in all college basketball this season and has really kind of changed the outlook of what this team could be in year one. So I think that was fully expected. I will say, and I brought this up, and obviously Dane Danger was on first-team all-conference as well, which was fully deserved. Penny joked with us, too, that the only one that could stop Dane was him. I think if Dane was in the starting lineup the entirety of conference play, I think that him and PJ would have had a real battle for that award, given the way he's played since he got put into the starting lineup. But obviously he was a no-brainer first-team all-conference guy. Tyrese Hunter for his leadership and kind of everything that he does on both sides of the floor seemed pretty obvious to me. I am very happy for Penny, especially when you consider what the headlines were a little under a year ago and last summer and going into the fall, for him to have this kind of redemption and validation of what he is as a coach, especially for the kind of person he is and that I know him to be. I'm very, very happy for him. And what else we got? Danger Newcomer of the Year. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think that for most of the season, he's probably been the second best player in the conference, or certainly one of the 3 or 4 best. So, yeah, really kind of a nice little cherry on top for an awesome regular season for the program, but now the real work, as we know, begins.
Mm-hmm. Matt, do you think it's burning this team to go to Fort Worth and win a postseason tournament at the AAC tournament?
I think this team just mentally is just built of the right stuff. The sentiment over and over again Friday night that I heard, even in the midst of this celebration where they're cutting down the nets and they get the trophy and they're running around with the regular season championship sign, the sentiment from all the guys was, we're not done yet. And I think that they know as well that, unfortunately, their seeding probably, in my opinion, it's ridiculous right now where they are. But I think they know if they lose before Sunday, and even if they lose on Sunday, they're probably not going to be in the position they want to be come 2 weekends from now when the big dance starts. So, yeah, I think the fire is there. I think they've got the veteran leadership, and I think that, just like I said, just mentally, just a really tough group that's all about winning. So, yeah, I really, for some teams, I would worry if the fire was still burning to win this conference tournament after clinching that regular season title. For this team, I'm not really worried about it, just because I think they are, they're on a mission, and I think that they are made of all the right stuff mentally to make that happen.
They win this tournament, where do you think they should be seated, and where do you think they will be seated? And that again, that the premise being they win this weekend.
If they win this weekend, I said anything lower than a 5 to me is ludicrous, in my opinion. if they do, where will they? You know, for all the doom and gloom that they'll be an 8, which is very much on the table, as crazy as it is to me. If they win this weekend, I think they'll get up to 7, maybe 6 if things fall their way. I don't know what that would be in terms of other teams losing early in their tournaments, but yeah, I mean, you know, I got to a little bit of a not a back and forth on social media this weekend, but I just got to state it. I was like, this team, if they win the conference tournament, I imagine they'll end up between 12 and 14 in the AP poll next week, which I know. I know that the AP poll has no bearing on seeding, and I know that there's more to it than that. But in theory, you look at the math there, that tells you they should be a 4 seed. Okay, if they're a 4 seed, okay, you penalize them a little bit for the weak conference. That's fine. A 5 or a 6 in that range, sure. But this 7 or 8 talk, if they finish the job in Fort Worth, it's kind of insane to me, and it's all because the predictive metrics, KenPom, Bart Torvik, and the net and all that are not in their favor. But then again, all of those metrics have Memphis outside the top 45 teams of the country, which if you think they're not one of the 45 best teams of the country, I have serious questions about how seriously we should take your opinions on college basketball in just about anything. So go win, and we'll see where the cars fall.
Well, it's a good point you bring up. I was having a conversation with someone earlier today. Like, this feels like it's going to be kind of the test case for the NCAA tournament of what are they valuing more, because you look out there, it feels like anywhere between a 5 and an 8 seed is kind of that range, and it feels like this late in the season, that's a pretty wide range for a team. And when you look at the team with a team with the resume like the University of Memphis has with all of those quad 1 wins, usually that correlates to high net, high KenPom, all of those predictive numbers. But we're going to see this year with the selection show where they seed them. Are they valuing more the resume and all of those quad 1 wins, or are they valuing the advanced analytics and what net and KenPom has to say?
The whole premise on why they won't be a top 5 seed, let's say, is because they have 3 bad losses by the metric, which would be Arkansas State at home, which admittedly, bad loss for sure. But then the other 2, where I think that we need to look at it with a little bit of a human lens. And listen, I'm a big analytics guy. I think that they are valuable, and I use them pretty often in, like, just stuff that I read and my own analysis and whatnot. And this is not an anti-analytics rant whatsoever, because trust me, I am a big proponent of them. But I think that we need to look at it from the human lens of the 2 conference losses, which are the ones that are really killing them, especially after Wichita State lost to Tulsa at home on Sunday, which now makes it a quad 3 loss for Memphis as opposed to quad 2. Okay, so Wichita State and Temple are the 2 at Arkansas State, like we talked about, and holding Arkansas State against them to a certain extent, especially after they did not come out of the Sun Belt, is fair. But the Temple and Wichita State losses, I think we need to look at it from a human lens and realize that conference play for everyone is a totally different animal in terms of how much you're up for that game, the importance of that game, the scout that goes into that game, coaches that know each other year over year. It's just like it's the only path for them, given what they did in the non-conference, to getting a high seed would be perfect, going perfect in conference play. I think it's completely unrealistic, and that's a burden that they should not be held to, nor should any team in the country for that matter. And I'll say this as well, last point on this. I would be okay with penalizing them for the Wichita State and Temple losses if they were at home. Mm-hmm. These were 2 road losses we're talking about. So I just think that we need to look at, I understand on the surface they're quad 3 losses. I think we need to look at the nuances that go into playing conference opponents on the road and what should be expected of basically any team in conference play. Because I don't care what conference you're in. You go 16-2 in conference play. I don't think that the 2 losses should be viewed as an anchor as opposed to the 16 wins on top of what they did in non-conference as well.
Matt, that is very well said and very reasonable. I think most people can understand 1 or 2. That's what they had, 2 stumbles in conference on the road. Unacceptable at home. They didn't have any. Okay.
Right.
Some of them were close, but we're not playing horseshoes. We're playing basketball. More means you win, and they won those games. That's the object of the game. I look at and I'm not big on the AP top 25, but I look at it and I see Duke, Houston, Auburn, Florida. That's top 4. Then Alabama, St. John's, Michigan State at 7. Well, this year in college basketball, we have empirical data on the Switzerland of neutral courts. Which one of those two teams are better? It's the one that won, that being Memphis. Then you have Tennessee, Texas Tech. Then we get to Clemson. We've got data on their floor in overtime that Memphis was better this year in college basketball than Maryland, Iowa State, Louisville, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and you get down to the Tigers. I think the Tigers should be seeded about maybe the last 4. I think they're in the top 15, 16.
Yeah, if you told me that they're the last 4 seed, I would have no problem with it. And again, it gets into this discussion we've had about, I know I brought this game up multiple times, but, when they only beat Charlotte by 9, even though they were up by 19 with 4 minutes to go, does that win margin truly capture how dominant the Tigers were on that day? That wasn't really a 9-point game, especially in the second half of that game. The Tigers were far and away the better team in that game. But because they, gave up whatever you want to call it, a 10-point swing in the final 4 minutes, well, that hurts you in this stuff. Even USF on Friday night. And again, I know we can't go by Vegas lines as part of, evaluating this, but the line on that game was 12.5, and Memphis won by 16. And they were up by, I think, 25 at certain points in the second half. And yet that win did not help them. I think it hurt them, actually, in some of the predictive metrics. Think about that. A win where you were up in the second half by 25 and still covered your spread in that game relatively easily, so you beat expectations, so to say, it hurt you. So I don't know how you overcome that. It's got to be really frustrating for fans and especially the program, because I don't know what the answer is.
If you were Coach Hardaway for next year's scheduling, why would you make 9 any tougher? You might even want to hedge back a smidge or two. Why would you make it any tougher? Because if they're not going to reward you this year, they'll punish if you lose. They'll punish. So why make any tougher? I would even like next year. They're probably, I don't know if San Francisco is going to be returned, because I think that was on the way out there. But, UNLV will be returned. They go to Starkville. They go to Oxford. It's the end of Clemson and Virginia. But I think it's the end of Mizzou as well. But I don't know if I would make it a whole lot tougher next year. Would you, Matt?
It's such a weird kind of yo-yo back and forth, because part of me says, just make it a cupcake non-conference schedule and then go to conference and try to run the table and see what happens. But then again, if you have any stumbles in conference play, then you don't have any sort of cushion to fall back on. So I don't know what the answer is, because if you could go really tough in non-conference again, but then you're apparently burdened to basically run the table in conference play. And I think that, those early season non-conference tests do provide them good battle testing experience for this time of year. But I don't know. I think the answer is to make these other AAC teams play better competition, especially before conference play. But again, the Tigers can't control that. So I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, it's weird. I think you're right. I can see both sides of it. Friday, Tigers will kick off the conference tournament. We don't know yet who they'll play, but we know that it will either be USF or Wichita State, a USF team that they really made it look easy against in both games, both here and on the road. But that other team, Wichita State, when Wichita came here to play the Tigers had to fight back to win that game late. Obviously, we know what happened on the road against Wichita State. What do you think of the potential of both of those matchups?
I still think that they should feel good about whether they get Wichita again for a shot at revenge or USF. Obviously, they've had USF's number in both games this year. Wichita State, they played them tough here. Obviously, they beat them at their place. The Tigers also blew multiple chances on the road to put that game away and win that game in regulation. That was a weird game. Obviously, Dane Danger had a really off night. The turnover late by Dante Harris. Yeah, I think that they would be especially up for that game, given the revenge factor from earlier in the season, and of course for Penny, I guess Nick Jourdain, losing to them and ending their season against Wichita in the conference tournament last year. So there's not a team in the field that I think the Tigers should have any sort of fear of or any feeling of. As long as they do what they do, they'll be fine.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun Friday to see that first game, and hopefully we'll see two more after that in conference championship for the Tigers. Matt, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, gentlemen. Look forward to it. Have a good one, all right?
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And Matt mentions the other teams in this conference. Tulsa played Southwest Christian.
That's right. Yeah. Rice lost at home to a D2 school.
To North Texas Dallas.
That's right. Sure was.
Temple played Holy Family.
Yeah. Holy Family.
Wasn't that a 70s sitcom?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That was All in the Family.
That's right.
Holy Family.
Holy Family. Yeah.
Wonder who would win between Holy Family and Southwest Christian.
Holy bleep,
No kidding.
I think Matt's right. I mean, it's.
I got a feeling if Holy Family played Southwest Christian, they're sending that collection plate around twice.
Yes,
Brian.
they are. Yeah, they are. But I think
love offering.
I love. It's always a love offering there, Brett. I think Matt makes a good point because it's so weird that if you looked up right now at Memphis and they had the two losses in conference on the road, a loss to Arkansas State. If they didn't have 6 quad 1 wins in their back pocket, we'd be talking about you got to win the conference to get in the tournament. It feels like.
Could not afford to lose on Friday.
No, I mean it's just it's
and
strange.
now after the whole walk of the season, I can't defend the Arkansas State loss anymore. I could defend it if they were in that tournament bracket.
Oh yeah,
but now that was a bad loss.
Yeah, I mean the way that Arkansas State finished the season, and then obviously the loss in the championship game. I mean, that's not a good loss at home, and then obviously you're dinged with every game in this conference. I mean, we felt like we came in every day after a win, loss, whatever it was in conference, and saying, well, Tigers dropped a couple spots in the net because they just played another team in the American.
It feels like if you just break it down in the very, absolute most simplistic terms, all the great work in Maui was vetoed by the 13-point favorite, losing by 13 to Arkansas State at home.
Yeah.
Feels like State and Ole Miss kind of vetoed each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, it feels like all the good you did somehow was,
and the conference was never going to be enough.
No. But,
Tigers wouldn't be in a whole lot better shape perception-wise if it had been 18-0.
No. I mean, it's this league. And, it's because guess what? As much as we talk about, and as much as the commissioner talks about, we got to have teams scheduling harder. Next year, Rice is still going to be playing North Texas, Dallas, or insert Division II school here. And, it's going to be the same exact thing. And
didn't Tulane play somebody goofy, too?
I'm sure they did.
I'm trying to get to it.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you see that a lot in college basketball early in the season of just these teams you've never heard of playing.
And I don't know that the SEC can pull this off again. Now, the big thing for the SEC was that 30-4 against the ACC.
Sure.
I know they can't do that every year.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's see. Louisiana Christian, Tulane opened with. That was the first game of the season for Tulane.
We need to find somebody else. I guess North Texas, Dallas, Little Rock Christian, or Louisiana Christian, Southwest Christian, and Holy Family playing a preseason tournament.
Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be a good time. Talk about the love offerings. You get them all.
Tulane played Bethune, too.
Yeah,
but
sure
Bethune's at least
Yeah, I mean,
Division One.
Yeah, that's better than those other teams. But yeah, I mean, I think you go through every team in the American, and every team would have somebody like that. But we'll see. Obviously, Friday is going to be big for the Tigers. Let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, we'll get back talking about the Grizzlies and their win last night over the Suns. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, and shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Honey, what?
There's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do? Get down.
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy. But with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Commerce rates not available in most states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
Welcome to Fat Larry's in Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. We're the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appling.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
Well, Brett, I know we're going to talk Grizzlies here in this segment, but I just looked through every team in the American Athletic Conference, other than the University of Memphis, played a team outside of Division I this year. Every single team, other than the University of Memphis, played a team outside Division I. Some teams playing multiple non-D1 teams this year on the schedule.
Pernetti needs to get with those ADs this week. You're not to schedule one non-Division I. Not one.
Yeah. I mean, it's I went through because I started getting curious. I said, we've named 4 or 5, and I know for a fact there are a couple of others out there that I know played non-D1 schools. So I took a little look.
Did East Carolina have a bad one?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Let's see. Where do I have East Carolina in here? East Carolina played NC Wesleyan, so that's North Carolina Wesleyan, and Mount Olive. So,
two. The Tigers can't overcome that.
No. I mean, yeah, it just
which is wrong because Memphis didn't play that.
Right.
They played quite the opposite of that.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, literally in one of those make-believe games, played North Carolina.
That's right. Yeah.
Omit the Wesleyan.
Exactly. Yeah. No Wesleyan. It's I mean, a week later, Memphis is playing from Mount Olive. A week later, Memphis is playing UConn after East Carolina is playing Mount Olive. I mean, it's just
too much to overcome, and look what it's going to do.
Yeah, no, it is. It's going to affect the Tigers for sure. Last thing, and then I promise we'll get to some Grizzlies. Our friends over at the Barking Crow. I have to bring them up. I know you did not think we were going to be talking Barking Crow today, but I went over to Bracket Matrix. I was with one of my buddies earlier today, and we were talking about where the Tigers could be in seeding. Went to Bracket Matrix, seeing where all these brackets have them, see who has them the highest, who has them the lowest. Barking Crow, we know them for their NIT bracketology. They also do NCAA tournament bracketology. Has Memphis as a 5 seed. How about that? Thank you, Barking Crow.
Thank you so much to the good folks at the Barking Crow. Sound like call them Barking Crow Wesley, and they might play one of these teams.
I think they'd be up for it. Fine folks.
I didn't know they did NCAA bracketology. I thought they just
I didn't know. I thought it was NIT.
made their chops on the NIT.
I think NIT comes first in their hearts, and then, it's NCAA tournament after that. But NIT's special to NIT Stu. Don't ever forget about him. He's great. NIT Stu. All right, over to the Grizzlies. We talked about it a lot in the first segment. Really, really fun. Another great game against this Suns team. And, you had big-time performances. Another huge game from Kevin Durant. He had 35. Devin Booker, 26, but really couldn't get much from anybody else. On the other side, you had a big game from Ja Morant, and then you had all of those bench guys step up and make big impacts.
You had that, and you're right. It looked like last year, and except all those games last year, they had always wiggle off the hook right there at the end.
Oh, yeah.
But you didn't have the anchors of Morant and Bane last year.
That's right.
And Ja Morant, since the heavy criticism that I and many others around town gave him after last Wednesday night, he has stepped up in these games. He has to.
Yep.
There's no Jaren. This is his team. With or without Jaren, it is his team, and he's got to do it. And you got to land these W's against teams you should beat. Even on a night you even had more people out.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and a really good point. On Ja Morant, since that loss against OKC, 31 points, 32 points, 29 points last night, and you look at the percentages that's coming off of. 45% against Dallas from the field, 48% against New Orleans, 69% last night against Phoenix. He is really stepping up, especially with Jaren out.
Stop shooting threes. Just stop.
Yeah, you don't no need to bring that up because those percentages, those are bad.
And had an ugly air ball and some ugly misses. Made one. A lot of them. At least 3 were not even close. Just stop that. That's not your game right now. Your game is driving into that middle and making them attack you, and you can dish or you can get to the free throw line, and he's really good at that.
Yeah, that's now 8 of the last 10 games where he shot less than 30% from 3.
Yeah, it's broken.
It's not working right now. But I think we talked about with DeMichael yesterday. I think you're going to start seeing teams scheme around that and really
12 assists. He can do a lot of things.
He absolutely can. But I think there's a lot of times where Ja Morant, he's sitting there open from 3, and he's got to take that shot. And
there's a reason why you're that open. Exactly. They're begging you to shoot.
They are. They absolutely are. So we'll see. We'll see what's next for this Grizzlies team. But you're right, Ja Morant playing really well over these last 3 games. Well, let's wrap up this hour. Get to another break. When we come back, we're talking some college football and college basketball with Brent Beard.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody has recognized me as the spokesperson for Central Barbecue, one of the spokespeople, I wouldn't have a nickel because we do these for the radio. But I'm proud to be the spokesperson for Central Barbecue. You know what I mean? I'm proud because all of us who do this have had to do ads for things we didn't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, I know I have.
I know you have too.
Hey.
But we get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Route 40. Family and fun come together.
Hi, this This is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I pluck mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call 5-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. 5-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money,
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, Midtown traffic starting to pick up even more in the last few minutes as we check it out live here on 240 southbound at South Parkway. I-40 at Danny Thomas has increased just a bit going over the I-40 bridge westbound back over into West Memphis. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beer, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beer. SEC, ACC, AAC. We talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beer with Brian and Brent.
Brent Beard joins us now from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He joins us every week to talk college football and college basketball. And today, the ACC tournament got kicked off earlier, a game between Notre Dame and Pitt. A lot to talk about when it comes to SEC and ACC basketball, but I do want to start in the ACC. It came out yesterday. Kevin Keatts at NC State, he is out. They made that decision. A lot of talk. Man, coach that made to the Final Four last year. What do you make of NC State's decision to cut ties with Kevin Keatts?
There had to be something internal going on in that situation. It's just hard to do what they've done and make that decision. But we may never know, and it may and frankly, maybe we don't need to know that all the time. But when you look at his record, it's pretty impressive. But teams make decisions for things that are befuddling sometimes.
That's one of them. I think also befuddling is the hire to the replacement for Leonard Hamilton and Luke Laux. That seems like a very on the least expensive end. I think they hired not to have to spend a lot of money, and all these departments don't want to spend any money, and most of these departments only want to spend money on football.
Well, I can tell you this. Guys. And you hit on something there, Brad. And they will tell you differently. Basketball is not a great priority at Florida State, which is a shame, although Leonard Hamilton had some good teams. But yes, that was more of a. I'm not going to say that it was a lazy hire. I'm just going to say I just thought they probably could have gone another route. I mean, I get the association with the school and all that went with it, but I would like to see Florida State go back to having more of a real interest in basketball than what they've got now.
There's a lot of people that would like to trade Leonard Hamilton, 3 Sweet 16 appearances since 2018. A bunch of people would like to be able to say that can't.
Well, that's exactly right, and Leonard did a really good job. He brought I remember those teams very well. Those teams were tough. They were all. I mean, he just had. It was like the forest for the front line. I mean, it was just amazing how good they were. They weren't afraid to go outside, even the country, and bring in guys. Hamilton, I think history will be kind to him over the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Who can compete with Duke in the ACC tournament?
Not too many of them. I never thought we would say that, but that's kind of where we are. And frankly, Brett and I remember this, to where ACC folks would just laugh at the SEC and about them getting in maybe Kentucky and another team when they would have 8 or 9. I'll say this, Bryant. I think a lot of that will be determined, too. I'm not saying any team in the tournament is going to not try and be competitive, but I think a lot of that's going to be determined by probably how much Duke wants to stay around, or do they want to go home and have a rest?
Brent, better question for next Tuesday, more appropriate for next Tuesday when we have the bracket in hand, and we see exactly the matchups and exactly the number of teams. But I'm going to give you a warning shot now. If it's 13 next week, I don't care what the matchups are. Yeah. I'm going to say in the first round games, and I'm not counting Dayton. Yep. Once you get into the real bracket, I'm going to say the SEC needs to win at least 9 of those games to really jersey pop and say, look at us and all the teams we got in. If you have 13, and of course Auburn's going to advance all the way through, or a long way through, and we think Tennessee and Florida will, and maybe 1 or 2 others. But you have a loss in Dayton, and you have a couple of 3 or 4 or 5 losses on Thursday and Friday when we get into the real meat of the bracket, then I don't think that's that much to brag about.
Well, it wouldn't be if those were the results. Now, at my Stars, at some point, when does playing the point of this is, and I think this is what you're getting at, there aren't a whole lot of teams that even let's say it's 11, and let's even say the final 5 or 6 who were selected to be in the tournament, the higher seeds. I mean, my Stars, you wouldn't have an excuse, would you, Brent? I mean, with the competition that you played, and there's no way in the world that you're going to play the competition the SEC has on those first 2 rounds. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to breeze through it and not have tough games. I don't believe that, but no, I hear what you're saying. It would be inexcusable for the SEC not to blitz through the first couple of rounds, or at least the majority of it.
It would be inexcusable if you're all of that. If you're not, then that's going to be the reason or the excuse. I don't trust Texas. I don't think they're going to get in.
No.
I don't trust Oklahoma. I don't think Arkansas can win more than 1 game maybe in the tournament. I don't know that I really trust Georgia. I know I don't trust Mike White in the NCAA tournament game.
Not at all.
And I can't explain Chris Jans in the state defense, and I will say it. I do not trust Buzz Williams in Texas A&M, and I don't think Ole Miss can win more than about a game if they are to win that.
Well, they should certainly play well in the beginning, in round 1 and round 2. I would agree. As you get, and you're looking at going to Sweet 16. The teams you mentioned would be iffy. And we'll get a little bit of a clue about some of these teams about how much further they go in the tournament this weekend.
Yeah. Felt like last year around the SEC tournament, there was a lot of talk of, okay, some of these top teams, they're probably going to mail it in this week, rest up for the NCAA tournament. But when you look at a lot of these bracketologies, it feels like when it comes to the number one seeds that Auburn and Duke are locks for number one. But then you've got about 3 SEC teams, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, that all are kind of in play for that number one seed. Who do you think can make a run this week in Nashville and secure a spot on that number one line?
If they want to, it'd be Florida to me. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm not sure if Florida's not playing better than Auburn.
Yeah.
To me, that they are the most complete team in the SEC with that backcourt. They're healthy now on the front court. This Condon kid is. Look, I know who they're looking at Broome and Sears and so forth, but Condon, when he's been healthy, has played as well as anybody in the SEC, frankly.
Brent, I hadn't been to the SEC basketball tournament in a while. Does the commissioner have the state of the conference? Does he do a media availability on the dais with everybody questioning him at the basketball tournament?
That's a great question, Brett. He does obviously have a presser. How much in depth he will want to go with that would be interesting. I mean, they were certainly laud and applaud the tournament. I know it will probably get into some of the football playoffs.
That's where I'm going.
By the way, Commissioner, since we've got you for a few minutes, can you give us a comment on this?
And we don't want to wait till Destin. We need to start getting some answers because I'm eventually. Well, I'm gonna get on both sides of it, so I know I'll end up being right. Brian, how about that?
How about that?
And it's rare that I do that. I like getting on one side. A few weeks ago, I don't know that I would have bet a limb, but I think I would have bet some money. I'd have bet a darn good lunch, maybe even one of the fancy steakhouse places that we were going to go to 9. Today, I'm not going to bet that because it's seeing his quotes since the meetings. It feels I think he wants to see next year 26, even one more round of 12 in 25. He wants to see how many teams he can get in there and if it's worth it or not. And if he's not getting a bunch of teams in, he doesn't want anybody scratched up. We were talking about scheduling earlier for the Memphis Tigers non-conference in basketball. If the SEC had a repeat this year at the college football playoff as last year, you can get ready for non-conference games to be a whole bunch of gimme games.
Look, I think 9 games is like, to use your analogy here, would be like going to the best steakhouse in Memphis, and as our mamas used to say, son, your eyes are bigger than your belly, meaning we want to get the biggest steak there is, but then we realize we just can't eat it, and then I think what happens is they get enamored with 9, thinking about all the money that it's going to bring in, and then they step back, like Brett said, after a few weeks after these meetings, and they're talking to each other, and they're saying, well, maybe this may not be that good of an idea, because what if it keeps some of us out of the playoffs? So, or Brett, are you saying that will cooler heads prevail in this thing?
I think so because we're in a playoff world. That's all that matters. I mean, yes. Brent, you know I had fun. I had fun seeing you in Jacksonville. I had fun finally going to my first Gator Bowl. Mm-hmm. But even for the Citrus Bowl and the bowl in Tampa, that doesn't do it for a lot of people. It's playoffs or bust.
It is
for just about everyone now, and you don't want to do anything to make it harder to get that. And in fairness, I want 9 games. But I want 9 games when we get to 16, and I know the SEC can get a 9-3 team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Frankly,
I agree.
But for scheduling, 8 makes a lot of sense because you're going to have people just howl that first year. Oh, I got 4 home games, but I got to go on the road 5 times.
Yeah, right. I agree. I still, and again, right after the meeting, there was a lot of, excitement's not the word I want to use. I think that they were just thought, well, this is just going to happen now because it's going to bring in more money. Well, that doesn't always mean that what's going to bring in more money is going to be voted on. I'm kind of with you. I could see it. I can see it gaining more favor and get a few more votes, but does that mean it's going to pass?
No way, but I guess we'll see. Brent Beard joins us every week from First Coast News in Jacksonville, talk college football and college basketball. I want to jump back to the ACC real quickly. Brett and I talked about this yesterday, but Bovada, the betting site, put out odds for Cooper Flagg, where he'll be playing next year. Obviously, a ton of teams in the NBA draft lottery up there, but the favorites for him next year was Duke. I think it was plus 250 for him to return to Duke. There's no way Cooper Flagg comes back. I know the last home game at Cameron Indoor, the chance of one more year rang out, and he looked at John Shire and said, "Let's run it back." But there's no way, is there, that Cooper Flagg returns to Duke for one more year?
Well, I mean, if he's like the number 1 pick, I don't think there's any way you could.
Well, he is.
Turn that down, frankly. Now, after his mama got on social media, maybe he'll go to the NBA and mama will come out and play for Duke. I don't know, but no, I mean, it would. Look, it would have to be the NIL of all NIL so far, I think, for him to come back.
Yeah.
What would be the starting price of it, Bryant, for him to this much wired into your account? You're back at Duke for another year.
I don't even know. Brent, what do you think? I mean, obviously he's got all of the, I'm seeing him on the New Balance commercials, and I believe he has a Gatorade or some sort of drink ad. I mean, he has all of these sponsorship NIL deals already outside of Duke. But I mean, what do you think, Brent? What would it take to get him back?
I'm just thinking, what would the signing bonus be for the number 1 pick? Okay, let me be conservative here. What if the signing bonus would be $20 million to go to the NBA?
I think in first year salary, that's around it.
Yeah. So if it's $20 million for your signing bonus, with, I mean, I'm not saying they certainly couldn't do 10 at Duke, but I don't know, guys, and I'm not saying they bankrupt themselves by doing that, but could you see Duke doing something similar to the NBA? Could they do that?
Yeah, try. I mean, for Cooper Flagg, if you think you have a shot of getting him back, I definitely think
here's why he won't. It's why Reed Shepherd didn't even consider it last year. Good. Sounds real good. So Duke gives him $8-10 million.
Yeah.
He goes one way, and the cartilage in the left knee goes the other.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
the end of his. That's the end of his basketball producing revenue years. That's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
NBA, he's going to get year 1 and year 2 and year 3 minimum with that rookie contract.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, there's a look. Being a college guy, I'd love to see him come back. Just for the good of the game, but at this juncture, I mean that's just hard to imagine when you can. And we're talking about generational money here. I mean, of course, he's going to come close to it if he stayed at Duke, but I mean that would almost be too difficult to turn down.
I think it's impossible.
He goes to the NBA. He's rookie of the year. he gets that second contract done
Yeah.
after the second or third year.
Absolutely.
And that
Yes.
and that is really life-changing.
Yes. Yeah, no question about that. But I tell you one thing, guys, it is a unique time of year. The conference tournament's coming up. Spring football opening somewhere almost every other day. It opened today at Georgia, and then down here the players starts on Thursday.
Sure does, right there at
yeah.
Gator Bowl Hotel. You know that well.
Yeah.
Not far from the Island Green.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You think that place? You think that place is already full, Brett?
I bet it is a beehive there.
Well, they've got Military Appreciation Night tonight.
Yeah.
Which is basically just a big concert. It's what it is. So there will be. I'll put it this way: that there'll be a lot of people at work tomorrow that won't be able to remember what they did tonight.
Yeah. They better get one of those driverless cabs.
Yes,
tonight.
yes, precisely. But I just made that statement. Say March to me is a very undervalued time of year for sports and all that's going on.
Great time of year.
Yeah, it is a great time of year.
Brent, what do you think of the places that are passing on spring football? Announced officially today, no spring game at Ole Miss. Brian, I think I've been telling you that off there
Yes,
for
you have.
8 weeks. It wasn't going to be a game.
Yeah, look, I've been real clear about this. I don't like it. I just, and again, my big thing for this is, and I think about all the towns in the SEC, since that's what we cover, in the ACC for that matter, that they've got how this hurts the hotels and the restaurants and the shops and things that go along with that. To me, it goes even beyond football. And I think the other thing, we've had this discussion down here, is these fans pay an astronomical amount for regular season tickets. And look, but Brent, I think you made this statement recently, was, my stars, if you're trying to grow the game and you've got a family, I don't know, of 3.5 kids, and you can't afford regular season tickets, but you can go to the spring game and at least look at the helmets and a little bit about who's coming back. I mean, that's one way to be able to do it. So I don't like it, but I do wonder, will this cause us to have the if we move the portal away from April and just maybe have one portal in December, would we be able to have spring games in the spring?
I think we're going to go to OTAs, just like in the pros.
That may be what it is.
And fans, now I think it will be an admission cost, and fans can pay and come and witness, watch OTAs, just like in the NFL.
Well, look, I mean, and I wouldn't see anything wrong with that as far as having a another revenue stream. And look, they can take a picture too and sign some autographs or something like that. I think that'd be fine too. But no, I think you're on to something there, but because you can't just leave a vacuum. I think there's something that's got to be done with it.
I'm going to steal one of Brett's questions here for you, Brent. If you could spend spring at one program in college football this year, where would it be?
I'm going to say one outside of the SEC, and that's Florida State.
I'm going to say North Carolina.
That'd be a really good one too. But I mean, they're just, you've got Gus Malzahn that's coming in. You've got the Boston College quarterback who's transferred in. And look, they after 2-10. This can't be a lazy spring for them. I know you're limited in what you can do in the spring, but they need to get a decent amount of stuff done. Now they've canceled their spring game, because they're working on the stadium, and we'll have it ready for the Alabama opener. But I would say that'd be one of them. I think the one we mentioned a minute ago. I think Georgia would be interesting. New quarterback. You've got to have better receivers. They did last year, leading the nation in drops. The offensive line was not up to par. It would be a very interesting spring in some places.
Give me USC. I want to see, because it's do it or go time for Lincoln Riley.
Look, Brent Bryant they've got to do something, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They got to go 9 north. They got to win some games.
Yeah. They really do because you can. And again, I'm still not. I'm hoping he's turned the corner on this. But they've got to be better defensively, and they're not going to be better defensively overall until they're better defensively. That's their bottom line.
That's it.
That's absolutely right. Brent, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy all these games this week, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Yep, can't wait, guys. Thanks much.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you, Brent Beard, with us talking college football and college basketball from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. I like that question about in the spring. There's a couple places in the SEC I wouldn't mind being. I would like to be on Rocky Top and see the progress at quarterback, because I don't know that in season last year didn't get worse, but I don't know that he got any better as the year went along. Mm-hmm. Kind of what you got on the road trip at Norman is kind of, boy, I say that, it was really good in the second half against Vandy, but that was kind of it for Nico. I mean, he didn't have a big jump up last year.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a lot of fun, to see those improvements, see them working with him, and see what he can do in spring. Because I think you're right. I think you're looking for that kind of jump to the next level for Nico this year.
And of course, if you got the chance to go witness the one and only at South Carolina, the quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Nickname football god, Lenore Sellers.
Football god, yeah. So he's being talked about right now. I mean, already preseason first team All-American.
Beat the worst Dabo team ever, and right. he gets all that.
That's right, yeah.
Had the bowl game go for South Carolina.
Not very well.
Brent Beard joined us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, also a huge supporter of Tigers athletics, and wish the Tigers so well down at the conference tournament this weekend and ahead in the NCAA tournament, that great location at 4542 Poplar. Bill Jones, his team here to stay. Some blow in and out overnight. Not Sissy's Log Cabin. They're here for the long haul, like they've been across the Mid-South since 1970, with all the great locations. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, wedding bands. Sissy's offers a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. So many people having fun last night at FedEx Forum in the floor seat lounge, in the Sissy's Log Cabin lounge just off the playing floor at FedEx Forum. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and a truly extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's get to another break. A lot of conference tournaments going, some starting today. Big 12 and ACC both getting started today. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk a whole lot of college basketball. That's next on Sports Time.
Wonderfully easy. If your agent is Margie O'Neill, a Remax expert, Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyer's market, seller's market, up and down market, Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEAL at Remax.net. Or call 901-685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
I love my wife, but like most couples, we have different sleeping needs. One of us likes likes it warm, and the other prefers to stay cool. You can probably guess who's who. About 15 years ago, I set out on a mission to find the perfect fabric to keep us both comfortable. I found it in viscose from bamboo. I'm Tyler, founder of Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth offers the softest, most comfortable sheets, towels, PJs, joggers, and more. Our premium bamboo viscose fabric is incredibly soft, breathable, and moisture-wicking, helping regulate body temperature so you stay comfortable all day and night. Unbelievably cozy, ethically sourced, and designed to add a touch of luxury to your home. I believe so strongly that our sheets will turn your bed into a sanctuary that if you sleep in our sheets for 100 nights and don't absolutely love your experience, we will refund your money, no questions asked. I'm so confident that you'll love Cozy Earth that I guarantee it. It truly is the gift that keeps on giving.
Go to CozyEarth.com and use code CozyComfort to save up to 40%. That's CozyEarth.com. Code CozyComfort.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
Brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of EMS calls in the last 15-20 minutes. Building right on schedule for this time of the afternoon through the Midtown area on 240 southbound, all the way down past Norris, headed south of Memphis. Still moving right now, but it's trying to build southbound on 55 down through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for over 40 years, no matter what the occasion is. Stop by and see them first. Why? Because you'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our family leisure studios. We got to talk some college basketballs. We've got all the conference tournaments going. Two of the major ones getting started today, the ACC and the Big 12 kicking off their first round games today. Tomorrow, obviously, we'll have the SEC getting started as well as the Big 10. So a lot of good stuff going on right now. And you look at last night, we had a couple more teams punch their tickets to the NCAA tournament. Troy, they beat Arkansas State to win the Sun Belt. Wofford beat Furman to win the SoCon, and so we'll have a couple more tonight, a couple more conference championships tonight, including the WCC, where we'll get another rematch of St. Mary's and Gonzaga. So everything really getting started, and obviously tomorrow with the SEC jumping in, it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Two finals already from all the action in Kansas City at the Big 12. Cincinnati blasted Oklahoma State 87-68 winners, and Colorado defeated TCU 69-67. That is really weird. I've seen Cincinnati in Memphis in a Metro tournament, in a Great Midwest Conference tournament, in a CUSA Conference tournament, and in an AAC tournament, right?
That's right.
Am I missing any other tournaments?
I don't think so. That's a lot of tournaments.
I've seen TCU in the Southwest Conference tournament.
Wow.
In Memphis at a CUSA tournament, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And in a AAC tournament, right? No. They were never in the AAC.
No.
They were in CUSA, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't think they were.
I don't think so. But that's a bad loss for TCU
Getting
today.
SMU confused with them.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do. I mean, rivals and all that good stuff.
But I've seen TCU in Southwest Conference tournaments at Reunion Arena. It is hard to keep up with all the realignment. I mean, like right now in the ACC in Charlotte, in the ACC, you got Virginia Tech that I've seen in a Metro tournament playing Cal. Never seen Cal in any postseason conference tournament. I've seen them in the NCAA tournament in Dallas one time.
Yeah, well, and you're going to see
I was
a
the
lot of that.
halftime Brian, this is great. I was the halftime guest of the Cal campus station. And I told him, I said, boy, y'all must be hard up for a halftime guest.
Wow.
And guess what they gave me for being the halftime guest? The Cal kind of fitted cap that just CAL on it.
Love it. Wow.
They had a box of them, giving them to people. I said, boy, y'all must be hard up for it.
Yeah.
That was in '96 at Reunion Arena.
Wow.
They were hurting for a guest, but a lot of games, a lot of good conferences getting started today. But I like the energy around the one, maybe two bid leagues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeing some of these conference championships and some of these conference tournaments, some of the stories coming out of them. I mean, we talked about Delaware yesterday, and they got another win last night. Now they're in the CAA championship. Yeah, that'll be tonight against UNC Wilmington. And so,
Trying to punch their ticket to Dayton.
Yeah,
because they will be Dayton bound.
Absolutely. I mean, just the these stories that come about in conference tournaments. I mean, we talked about Pepperdine last night that won 3 straight games after losing pretty much all of their conference games in the regular season. But they get on a roll. It gets snapped obviously by St. Mary's. But seeing these stories, yesterday talking about SIUE and their head coach who had the framed scissors and had them for 6 years and saying we're gonna bust these out when we finally get to cut down the nets. These smaller conferences, the stories are really fun to watch and see those play out and see those guys that like you said, one bid league. You have to go out and win your conference tournament to make the NCAA tournament. To see those guys be able to achieve that, it's really fun.
Right when there's going to be outrage, and now Matt Infield was not outraged.
Mm-hmm.
It was very responsible and very reasonably laid out, and he voiced a lot of people's frustration, and it's out there. There are people. It's just really brimming with real contempt about where the Tigers are going to land. Of course, they go and win 2 games next weekend, go to the Sweet 16. It'll be one of the biggest I told yous and you know what's of all time. But if it's 8-9 game, like right now, you're seeing an 8-9 game against West Virginia. Where I saw it somewhere, maybe Joe Lenardi.
Yes, Joe Lenardi's, I believe.
That's just a brutal first game.
Nah, man, it's and then your
track meet.
Yeah, and then your prize if you win that is seeing Auburn in the second game. I mean, and I think the
people are going to be hot over that, Brian. People are going to be hot.
Of course they are.
Into the summer over that.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is. It feels like the last 2 or 3 NCAA tournaments you've been in have been as an 8 or a 9 seed. It feels like, it almost got to the point where you're saying every time Memphis is in the tournament, they're an 8 or 9 seed. And this year you felt like you did enough work to get out of the 8-9. And now you're at the end of the season. No matter how many games you win in conference, it's not going to help you a ton. And you're in some projections in the 8-9 game.
I thought the seeding in the Penny NCAA tournament years, even the Josh NCAA tournament years, I thought it was fair.
Mm-hmm.
This is not.
Yeah. No,
this is not fair.
No, I mean it's. I don't think they'll be an 8. I don't think they'll be in that 8-9 game. I think they'll probably be a 7 if I just had to go out there and guess a seed for them. But it is going to be disappointing if on Selection Sunday they get announced as an 8. It's going to be right there again of. You're just in a terrible situation because you have to play a really good team in the first game, and then you got to go see a number 1 seed.
Shelby Mass, yesterday we had on at 4:30 yesterday from bracketwag.com. He has the Tigers as 7. That would be playing the 10 Drake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
tough first game.
It's a tough first game. Yeah,
would it almost be hypnotic?
It would be. But I'd rather be there playing Drake instead of in an 8-9 game. 100%.
Yeah. One spot in front of that is Mizzou. We talked about it with Shelby. I just think Ty goes the runner. And Memphis Tigers won way back on November 4th.
Yeah.
But they won. It was this year. The scheduling difficulty for next year, it was more directed. Matt, what would you do if you were Coach Hardaway? If you got kind of left at the altar this year with that very, very vigorous scheduling?
I don't think there's a correct answer to it, because you look this year and you say, okay, you won, you're 6-1 in quad one right now. You stacked all those non-conference wins against great teams, and you still look up a couple losses in this conference because of how bad the conference is, and you've got people like Joe Lunardi projecting you in the 8-9. If Memphis doesn't have all of those wins, if you look up and you have one quad one win in the non-conference, 2 quad one wins in the non-conference, and then you do what the Tigers did in non-conference, I mean, where are they on this bracket? So, I mean, it feels like you're going to get hit if you have the tough schedule. You're going to get hit if you don't have the tough schedule. And here's the thing. If Memphis goes out there and has the exact same schedule next year in terms of toughness, what's the likelihood they do again next year what they did this year? It's pretty unlikely that they would do the exact same thing and have that much success with that non-conference
this year either.
No,
but it'll be
weren't,
difficult because it's going to now. Tell me who's back. You did it to me a few weeks ago. Tell me PJ Haggerty's back.
Exactly. Who knows? But for any team, you put any team out there and you put that type of lineup, it's hard to do that back-to-back years. And so, I don't know what the answer is, because it feels like you have a really tough non-conference schedule, and because of this conference, you're going to get dinged, and then if you don't have one, you're going to be in a worse position.
I want that committee to get creative with these first-round games, like we talked about last Friday with Ty Richardson. We want Memphis and Arkansas playing at Rupp Arena.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. That'd be great. And right now, Joe Lunardi, he has Arkansas as an 11. If Memphis could get into that 6, you could, have that matchup. If Arkansas is actually, somewhere else, maybe they creep up to a 10 if they go on a little bit of a run in the SEC. I'd love to see that type of matchup, and so I'm with you. I'd like to see them try to put it to where there's a lot of storylines behind a lot of these games.
Alabama, at worst, will be a 2 seed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they could not show up first game, and I still think they're probably a 2. That's a team I don't want to see if I'm anybody, really. The way that they can go offensively, maybe it's Shelby's bracket. There's a bracket out there I was looking at earlier today that has, if Memphis won their first game, playing Alabama in the second round. Yeah, so I don't know about that. We already saw them in the exhibition. I think that was enough.
You got a good scout on them, though.
You do, and they got a good scout on you. It goes both ways. The way they can score the ball. We've seen this Tiger team go 3, 4, 5 minutes on scoreless droughts. I don't want to see an offense with that much firepower.
No, that's a good way to. You do that at the 12-minute mark of the first half, and you go into that down 4, and you come back, and at the 8-minute mark. They've outscored you 8-0.
Exactly. Yeah. But hey, at the end of the day, if Memphis is going to go on a run, they're going to have to face a team, a good team, and so we'll just see who you get, and you got the guys that I think can make any game competitive. So
Brent Beard talked about Florida. I'm kind of getting into that too. That I think Florida may be scarier than Auburn, or is that too heat of the moment?
I don't know if I'd say. Scarier than Auburn yet, but I think they're right up there close with them. I mean, this is a team that I've really fallen in love with. I think I said it the other day off air with Elisha, who produces the morning show back in, December, and he was asking me what I thought about Florida. And I go, yeah, no, they're a good team. I'm not a huge fan of watching them play. And then really since conference play has started and the way that they've been playing, I've really enjoyed watching this Florida team, and they feel like a team that could really go for it this year.
We're not going to pick every game of SEC or AAC. Are we all group locked that Tigers win AAC?
I mean, you feel pretty good about it, right? At
Landon,
least get to the championship game.
You're that good. All right, for SEC, just for tomorrow, Arkansas, they couldn't have dreamed of a better matchup than getting South Carolina after the dud 2 Saturdays ago.
Yeah, how about the rise for Arkansas and the conference standings with how they finished the season? Yeah, no, I mean, you can't. You make 4 baskets in the first half. You're already better than you did the last time you saw South Carolina. So, yeah, I feel good. I think, John Calipari, I think it'll be very easy to go into that locker room before the game starts and go, you embarrassed yourself the last time you played this South Carolina team. Do you really want to do that again?
Does he even have to say it?
I don't think so. I think those guys know it. I think that was embarrassing for that team. So I feel pretty good about Arkansas tomorrow.
The Thursday in Nashville potentially could start the day, Rebels and Razorbacks, afternoon, Texas Aggies, Texas Longhorns, first session of the night, Mississippi State and Mizzou, and the last game of the night, Georgia and Kentucky, or Oklahoma and Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is all of these games in the SEC tournament are going to be super, super fun games.
That's value.
You look at it, the last game tomorrow night, Oklahoma and Georgia. These are two teams that have been on the bubble pretty much all season long.
It's a great Rose Bowl I went to.
Well,
have I told you about my Rose Bowl trip?
I'm sure you have. I know you have.
A million times.
Yes. But no, I mean that's going to be a really fun matchup tomorrow night.
It will be.
I think Georgia feels pretty good about where they're at right now. Certainly better than Oklahoma, but that's going to be a great game. And just the idea of having those type of games on the first day of SEC it's hard to believe.
So Arkansas wins tomorrow against South Carolina. That means Razorbacks Rebs at noon on Thursday.
That's right.
And we know all weekend on the Diamond in Oxford. Basketball Thursday, Friday baseball, Saturday baseball, Sunday baseball.
One of those teams could have a lot of bragging rights Monday.
Couldn't it?
I don't know which one it will be, but it could be a good weekend.
Or clamor up for a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe Thursday will tell you. We'll give you a nice little preview, a foreshadowing of what could happen on the Diamond.
We got all that action right here on Thursday, and we will come on as soon as Learfield clears post-game, whatever time that is. We could come on really early.
Yeah, we could.
If we got the rapid pay. The only game you're guaranteed, the first game of each session is only one is going to start on time.
Yeah, no chance that one's going to start late. Ball's going to go in the air about 12, somewhere between 12:02.
You say that. So 1 year at the SEC tournament, and I'm courtside.
Yeah.
And it's first game, second half, and from like under where the TV announce crew is, I mean, smoke starts rising up.
Holy cow!
And what's it? Is the building on fire? What's going on? So they stop the game, clear everybody out, and like one of the pyrotechnic smoke machines for like the in between game acts, somebody had hit the switch and it was going off.
Wow. Okay.
One year in Memphis, the lights went out at the Pyramid.
Really?
And the game had to be halted.
Well, sometimes that happens. Hopefully we don't get that on Thursday. Hopefully everything starts on time and we get a nice competitive
leave the
game.
smoke machines alone.
No reason to have smoke machines at basketball games. Just leave those at home. No need for them. Let's go ahead, get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, little sis. Did you get your W-2 yet?
Yes, I did.
Well, last year when I told you to file early to get your refund quick?
Yes, I remember.
Well, go ahead and call now, and you can get your refund fast.
Thanks. That's why I love you. Always looking out for your little sis.
To get your taxes filed quick and get your refund fast, go to Brenton Tax Service, located in Midtown Memphis on Madison Avenue. We may not be related to you, but at Brenton Tax Service, we protect you like family.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study.
Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist. I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Metis today, 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call them now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Total membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdinger. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is the number 10. It could be the number 10 for the American having a 10-man all-conference first team, which is just ridiculous. I could not believe that when I saw it, but it's not 10 because of the 10-man first team. It is the record that Houston went 10-0 in Big 12 road games this season. That's the first time ever a major conference team has gone 10-0 on the road in conference play in a season. I know we talked about it with David Cobb yesterday, or at least he brought it up, but what Houston has done under Kelvin Sampson since he took over to build them to the powerhouse they've become and to go from the American to the Big 12 and make that transition so seamless and still be at the top of the conference in the Big 12. We know how tough that conference is year in and year out. Some of those road environments that they had to go to and have to compete in, the fact that they were able to go 10-0 on the road, really remarkable stuff for Kelvin Sampson.
If they got down to the national championship game, there are a bunch of teams that unabashedly I would pull hard for Kelvin Sampson and for Houston to finally get one. You know, so close to Phi Slamma Jamma, the good teams with Kelvin Sampson. You know, way back with Guy V, with Elvin Hayes a long time ago. Against a couple SEC teams, I don't know that I would that much pull for them, but sure wouldn't mind it if when the night was over and the confetti's falling, one shining moment's playing and Kelvin Sampson got him one.
Yeah, I like Kelvin Sampson a lot. I think he's a fantastic coach. And so, I'd certainly be happy if they won it. I'm trying to think of teams that could be in the Final Four that I would root for over Houston if they were
Tennessee. Right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sure.
They're number one on the list. Yeah, you got that right, Brett. Probably Duke. I think I'd root for Duke over
you're
Houston.
Duke. Man, you're part of the brotherhood.
You are brotherhood.
Mad as you've ever been at me when I took a shot at Shire.
He's a good coach. He's a great coach.
Well, he's done nothing.
Well, I mean,
We're going to get into it again.
no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
My big number is 27. They're going to be in the tournament no matter what they do tonight in the West Coast Conference Finals. That's the number of times Gonzaga has advanced into the NCAA tournament, and it's really been a 30-year run. I had written down in my notes I was going to call them the Boise State of basketball. That's not proper. Boise State's the Gonzaga of college football. They did it well after and kind of used that as the model, stuck up there in the,
absolutely
closer to the North Pole than they are to, SEC country. It feels like. And Gonzaga, they've done it from Cinderella, really tournament bracket darling at one time, to a force, a mainstay every March. 14 Sweet 16, 6 Elite Eights, 2 Final Fours, 2 final games. They've lost in the national championship twice, but 0 titles. 739 wins for Mark Few, and one of the few coaches out there after the. I don't want to pile on after the bad incident with the DUI that around the sports world it was unanimous that's not him. It's aberration, and he owned up to it. Said I made a horrible mistake, won't happen again, and it hadn't.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think you talk about just what Gonzaga has built. I mean, to see in some of these bracketology, again, I just have Joe Lenardi's in front of me, so I'm going to reference that. But to see Gonzaga on the 8 line and going, whoa, Gonzaga in 8, I mean, that just shows how dominant and kind of what they have built up there.
That's their floor.
I mean, you're so used to seeing them on the 1 line, on the 2 line, on the 3 line. To see them all the way down at 8, I mean, it's a little jarring. You kind of sit there and go, whoa, wait a minute, Gonzaga on the 8. Now, if you were going by Kim Pom in the net, they would be a 3 seed or a 2 seed. But no, but the bracketologists, they have them all the way down there at an 8.
They beat the Tigers at the Pyramid in the fall of 98, the 98-99 season. And this ascendancy, this kind of the Gonzaga we know now, it was launched that night with Richie Fromm and Matt Santangelo just draining 3. I'm going, who in the heck are these guys? All I knew about Gonzaga before that night is that's where John Stockton went.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, they certainly built it up, and tonight 8 o'clock on ESPN, Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and St. Mary's, they have done a fantastic job of building their brand and their program, and so no, that's going to be a really fun game tonight. To see who wins the WCC. Both those teams will be going to the NCAA tournament, but we'll see which one is the conference championship. That's one of 4 conference championship games tonight. We got the CAA championship, the NEC, the Horizon, and then the WCC. So a lot of bids will be clinched tonight in college basketball. Let's go ahead and wrap up this hour, get to another break, and when we return, we're switching gears. We're talking a whole bunch of NFL with Beau Marchant. He joins us next.
Every year it's the same thing. March arrives, and I want to tell all of you to spend as much time as possible at Bell Tavern watching college basketball. But I also want to ensure everyone that Bell Tavern is not a rowdy sports bar where you'll run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Once again, let me say Bell Tavern is a great place to watch college basketball where you won't run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar. Bell Tavern is a grown-ups bar.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Jack?
First, there are so many benefits, you gotta talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks number 1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by JD Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it.
T-Mobile has price lock. They won't raise your rate on internet. Hulu and Paramount Plus on
Get more than all from $55 a month and cable $8.45. Sometimes you just want to make it fast, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. This amazing style streetlights with a narrow 471cc twin, along with sweet GT display, dual disc brakes, and standard ABS, all at an affordable price. Find fun in all your Lexus 2024 Honda CB500F, available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Wheeler Road, Olive Branch. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in downtown Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD trying to clear up a couple of earlier accidents. Here's what we're seeing. Heavier traffic flow on 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Billboard Parkway. It's gotten a little bit heavier through the Midtown area. I-40 passing Chelsea. It's also picked up on Sam Cooper going outbound, getting back on the interstate. Hey, Weiber's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Club City. Once again, Brett Northrup and
Say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our family leisure studios. We've talked a ton of basketball today, but a ton of moves being made in the NFL. So we got to switch gears and talk the NFL. We do it every Tuesday with Bo Marchant.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Bo Marchant joins us now to talk the NFL. And Bo, the moves are being made. Let's start with the team you cover, the Pittsburgh Steelers. DK Metcalf, now a Steeler. What do you make of that deal, and who will be throwing him passes?
Well, who's going to be throwing them passes is anyone's guess at this point. I think we've narrowed it down to two individuals that are both Super Bowl winning quarterbacks by Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I think that's who we narrowed it down to. And listen, I've talked about it a lot. This is the change of scenery in terms of Kevin Colbert, the old GM, to Omar Khan, the new GM. A little bit more change of pace, a little bit more modern era type NFL GM, who's willing to kind of be able to do a lot of things that we would have never seen. To think that the Steelers offered their biggest contract ever to an outsider, usually this money is the guys that they develop that are in-house that they give this money to. So I think that is one of the hugest things, just looking at the culture change in terms of how they're kind of changing the philosophy in-house to go out-house to get these guys. But it's a good move. They need help. And the big question, and I wish I could tell you, is, do they retain Pickens? Do they move on from him? I know the idea of thinking is, now you got two bona fide, solid receivers in terms of Pickens and Metcalf. But, we know George Pickens is he's fragile in terms of, how he could react to this. And, it's probably not going to sit nice that he knows that, the money that he thought he might be getting, somebody else has got. But I like the move long term. They gave him big money. And now they just got to find a guy who can pass them the football.
George Pickens does not play well with others, does he, Bo?
That's a great way. That's what I should have said, Brett. Yeah, That's the key. And sometimes honesty hurts you.
He should have got him an individual sport then, because this is a team sport.
It is. It is. And, he wants to win, but, it's about emotions, and that's the key. All these guys want to win. All these guys could have sour grapes about what happens on the field. Maybe I should have had more sacks, and you should have had more receptions, and I should have threw more touchdowns, and, we could go on and on. But nonetheless, it's you kind of got to smile and play nice, especially in front of the cameras. And now to his credit, he speaks what's on his mind, and sometimes we get bored with the old. Well, let me look at film and let me go. Execution. Let us watch the tape. That's not George Pickens. He's going to call it like he sees it, but he gets in. That's the flip side of it. He gets. It's public knowledge now what he says. But that's when I saw it come down the pike that Metcalf was going there, I was like, wow, this definitely changes the philosophy of the Steelers. And then I thought, what do they do with George and how George is going to handle this? I mean, if he's on the team, he's on the team. There's nothing he can do about it. But nonetheless, it's a tricky thing. Listen, the Steelers, if they bring Rodgers in or Russell Wilson, you still got the Band-Aid on the big wound as long-term quarterback. I don't think any of these guys played particularly well last year in terms of thinking, well, something's going to flip. Aaron Rodgers is going to find the fountain of youth again, and Russell Wilson's going to be that much better. I don't think they were bad, but I think, and I could probably even get caught in a little bit as well, is that resume and the lineage that these guys have had in the league, you kind of play off that. And, I don't know how much either one of these guys have left in the tank with another year of football ahead.
I look at George Pickens' numbers from last year, and he had 3 touchdowns on the year. DK Metcalf will get that in the first game.
Well, remember, he's going to the Pittsburgh offense, so that's where Metcalf's going to have the frustration, and that's why when they asked Pickens, at the end of the year, do you think the offense is going to change? And he shrugged his shoulders and said, "Nah, I don't think so." And that's the brutal reality. You got to think about, since this young man has left Georgia to play in the National Football League, he has been part of one of the worst offenses in football. So you could see where he's, beaten down. And I like to think and not on the selfish side of the team side, but on the personal side of it, he's a heck of a football player, and he sees the money these other guys are getting. He sees the endorsement deals these guys are getting. And you don't get that when you have 3 touchdowns on the season. You don't get that when your offense is that bad. And so those are the little things. I mean, absent of the team sport, the outside, because you are your own investment. You got to make the most of what you can get. And that's where I do think a little bit of that frustration stems, where, you kind of want to be the part of it. You want to be that big play guy. You want to, have commercials, or you want to be selling things, and, and all those things that come with being a superstar in the league. He has the talent. I don't think there's any question. And, I think in the same offenses, I mean, I don't think Metcalf's that much better than Pickens. People could be saying I'm crazy, but, I've seen them both play. I've seen Pickens play. I've seen him do his things. I just know, listen, I've seen Antonio Brown do his thing too, but he had a guy, Ben Roethlisberger, throwing him the football. So, you got to have all of it. And the Steelers don't have all of it. They're trying to put it together, but even Metcalf or Rodgers or Wilson, it's still going to be a strange process of seeing this offense develop.
Yeah, it really will be. Speaking of DK Metcalf, the Seahawks making some moves. Geno Smith going to the Raiders, and then they signed Sam Darnold to be their starting quarterback. Let's start with Sam Darnold. Obviously had the success this year with the Vikings. Can he have similar success with Seattle, or was that just kind of the right quarterback fit in the right system in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think that was the right fit, right system in Minnesota. You're talking, 35 touchdowns. Previous high, I think, was 19. I think his second year with the Jets. So, yeah, you're talking about a breakout season, and I think that was part of, you got Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson to throw to. You got Aaron Jones, who was fabulous. They signed him back. So I think that was a little bit of the system. I still like the move overall for Seattle. They just needed a change of face. Geno, they're getting younger at quarterback, and they knew, where they were with Geno Smith. And I think Geno Smith wanted that change too. So I think it's a good fit for everybody. I always admire what John Schneider does, the GM in Seattle. I think he's one of those guys who knows what he's doing. And I like the move. And the Metcalf move, could have been a money thing. I know Tyler Lockett, he's no longer there, but, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he was starting to come on. And, they got draft picks. There's still, D-Hop, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs. Those guys are still out there in free agency. So who's to say that they don't, acquire one of those guys and, draft another guy? And now you're looking at their offense going, wow, I like this better than last year's team. So, it's an early process. And I promise you, and you probably could go back every year at this time, but this particular free agent signing, I was up late Saturday night. I just couldn't wait to, starting to hear little tidbits coming out of where these guys, because I don't think there's anybody who's, Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, even Rodgers or Wilson. I don't think there's anybody that's going to move the needle to this is a Super Bowl team now. Mm-hmm. But I just thought there was a lot of complementary pieces to make football teams better. And people say, well, that's what free agency is for. But I really look at the Patriots, a ton of signings, but all meat and potatoes guys, Mike Vrabel type guys that, they're not going to win their division. I don't think they will. But I think they'll be more competitive. There'll be a more balanced team. Little things like that throughout the league. I thought Minnesota did well. They fortified the defense. And Brian Flores, he had that defense playing so good last year. They robbed the Colts of some linemen. I thought the Vikings made out. So, again, not Super Bowl type changes, but enough where I think a lot of teams really found themselves getting a lot better. Not Super Bowl better, but a lot more competitive every Sunday in and out in this upcoming season.
The Rams improved, but maybe not enough to top Philadelphia.
Well, they're young. I love the Adams move. They, obviously they retain Stafford. They retain Jimmy Garoppolo in case Stafford misses time. You got a quality guy in the back. But it's the youth movement that I'm most impressed is. And I'm not going to say that, I think the thing, we watched the Rams play that game at Lincoln Financial, and they were so close to winning the game. But that was a perfect scenario where everything had to go right. So, and it's hard to get to that point. And if we, and flip side it, where the Detroit Lions should have been playing that week. It's all these little, they should have won and all this other stuff. What I'm saying is the Rams are a good football team. Are they better than the Eagles? I don't think so. But the Eagles, they their defense, that defensive front, Milton Bulls, Josh Sweater gone. They traded Gardner Johnson to the Texans. So it's a different team already for the Eagles. And I just think, Josh Sweat and all these guys getting that big money, I like to always go back to the Alvin Harper, Michael Irvin thing. When you're playing on a Super Bowl talented team with, Jay Novacek and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper's that guy. He's like, oh, wow, I'm going to go to Tampa after the Super Bowl and get all this money. And we know what happens. And I think these Eagle defensive guys, absent of the guys that are still in Philly, I think these guys were the benefactors of playing on a team that had elite talent where everybody was fresh and everybody could make plays. I don't know if these guys are going to have that same impact to where they go. I'd be shocked if they did, put it that way, because that defense the Eagles had, especially the way they played at the end of the year, they were just so dominant.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's such a great historical comparison to Alvin Harper, and that was really the earlier, not the early days, but the earlier days of free agency. If the widespread free agency doesn't hit the league like it did, and Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones continue to get along, they would have won 3 more. But you're right. Alvin Harper from the University of Tennessee, he goes to Tampa Bay, and we never heard from him again.
Yeah. And, and if that was you got to figure, Eddie DeBartolo's still the owner of the 49ers, and there's no salary cap. You got to figure they probably got at least three more Super Bowl wins, right?
Yeah. Well, that would have been your NFC Championship game for about a 10-year run.
Yeah. Yeah, they were dominant. And those two teams were so dominant, and it's absent of them not playing in the same conference, they would have probably ended up playing in, 5 of the 6 straight Super Bowls during that time. They were just such a dominant team on both sides. And it was fun because, we know Charles Haley and then Deion Sanders. It was these power moves from each team to kind of steal from, the other and dominant guys, not just, these guys are role players. These guys were real horses, and they were able to kind of flip that back and forth. It made it, and that was a fun time. A lot of great players, ton of Hall of Famers that come out of those, that rivalry. Steve Young, he was the benefactor of getting his Super Bowl finally, but he had to go, the Dallas Cowboys were the team that he had to get past to get there.
Yeah. Explain to me the Justin Fields to the Jets move.
I think I still think it's a, 2 years, $30 million guaranteed. So, you're looking at a guy who's still think a transitional quarterback. And Aaron Glenn's playing with I shouldn't say house money, but he's going in there. He doesn't have to win immediately, so I think that's a little bit of a hey, let's develop this as we want it, and if we can get him to play well, like he did with the Steelers last year, not too much, no, kind of a bend but don't break requirement out of Justin Fields, and when I believe this, and he's this far into his career, 14-30, I believe, so he's experienced. If the light comes on and he becomes elite, I'll be shocked. And I don't think that's going to happen. So, you're going to get a quarterback who, when he plays within the system and isn't asked too much, he's a good quarterback. I wouldn't even say he's great. And, but when it really comes time to, get behind center and start pushing that ball downfield, that's where you kind of see the miscues of Justin Fields. But I just think it's a stopgap type quarterback. He's just a younger version of, a Daniel Jones with not as much excitement. That's what it is. Justin Fields is one of these guys. He's a lightning rod of excitement. And, fans out there, I get so frustrated that, if a guy can run 11 yards for a first down, they think he's a great quarterback. And I remember doing stuff with, Johnny Manziel. They're like, well, he had 100 yards rushing. I know he had 100 yards rushing. Walter Payton ran the football. He never threw for 90 yards, because he wasn't a quarterback. So I know the league's changed. But it just blows my mind that we're this deep in the Justin Fields career, and I have to hear Steeler fans, they're always, okay, where were you going to go with Justin Fields? Even that, in the big scheme of things, think about this, guys. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. The elite guys. You got to be at that level, and if you're not on that level, and Justin Fields, that's why he's getting, $20 million over the next 2 years, 30 guaranteed. Let's say 10. That's why Daniel Jones got $14 million. That's why they're not the elite guys. They're going to win games and they're going to be competitive. But to think that they're something's going to miraculously happen and that's just going to change the whole trajectory of the franchise because Fields goes to New York. And I'm not saying you guys are saying that, but I read things and I hear the feedback of Justin Fields, and I always like to compare these guys. They're like the prettiest girl in the room. They walk in and you're just stunned. You're stunned because they're so gorgeous. But at the end of the day, they're not compatible to date, and you just got to move on. So that's where I kind of look at Fields. Is he athletically gifted? No doubt. Was he great when I was around him when he was at the Steelers in terms of always looking, practicing, and doing all that stuff? He looked involved, never sour, never foul. In terms of if something didn't go his way. Never. Total team guy. But at the end of the day, 4-2, they went with Russell Wilson. I just think that says a lot about his upside in this league long term.
Yeah, I hear so many talk about it. Well, he's so athletic. Well, that's great. Maybe he needs to try to be a decathlete and enter the Olympics. But they need him to play quarterback in the NFL. And if you're this far into your career, and to use your words, they won't really let him go. They won't ask a lot of him. I think that's telling everybody that he's limited, and everybody knows it. This is third stop. The Bears set him back, and the Bears have hurt a lot of young quarterbacks, but he didn't show a lot. You saw it up close.
And I really believe his character he's a solid young man, and I think that's why teams do covet having him around because he's a hard worker, and I think that's the thing. And he can make amazing plays. It's just consistency, and that's with all quarterbacks. And put it this way, at least he's athletic. There's some guys that just don't have any of the skills he have, and they just kind of fade away and they never even have this shot. But he is so gifted. He has good character. It's a point in his career where. Who doesn't want to be the starter? But there will be a point where he'll have to adjust to life as a backup. And when Jimmy Garoppolo signed today, I said it's just odd that Jimmy Garoppolo's a backup now. A couple of years ago, we were talking, is he, where's he rank in the top 10? Is he a Super Bowl? All these things that go on with being the guy, and then it's so quick not to be the guy, and now you're signing your second deal to back up Matthew Stafford. So it's hard to be a dominant player in this league, especially at quarterback.
We love Charles Davis here at this station and really in this state. Tennessee Vol legend and just really good person. He did his mock draft last week, and he had Jackson Dart going third Do you think Jackson Dart goes third in the draft, Bo?
Gosh, I don't think so. But, McCarthy going as high as he did last year, Michael Penix going to the Falcons after they signed Kirk Cousins to the money they did. I wouldn't say it's out of the, it's not factual or couldn't happen. I just like to know that I like Jackson Dart, and long before it was public knowledge. Fair enough, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But going back to the to some of these trades, I still cannot understand the Laramie Tunsil trade to the Commanders in terms of why did the Texans do it? They certainly need the help on the offensive line. It's a guy that was great on the offensive line. What does this look like now for the Texans and their O-line to protect C.J. Stroud?
That's so funny you said that because I saw the you see the tickers going by and some of the moves, and you see the Texans are just they're losing linemen, they're moving on from linemen, and I'm thinking, did he know something we don't know? I wish I knew, and I'm supposed to come on here and tell you what, but I don't know, and it's one of those things that I just haven't had time to really delve into the depth of their O-line. I know Tunsil had his issues with penalties. But,
yeah.
I don't know if you move on from a tackle because of penalties. Maybe you do, and who knows of the situation. But I did find it alarming that they were getting rid of linemen at the rate that they have over the last week. I mean, you think during the season, you imagine how critical losing one lineman is. Imagine losing two. And then in the offseason, your trade guy, this guy gets signed. Those are a lot of, faces, the hard play. Like I said, the Colts, they lose Will Fry and Ryan Kelly to the Vikings. And, I know Kelly's 31, but nonetheless, that's two guys that were impactful guys for your own O-line. And now you got to go in the free agency yourself. Now you got to go back into the draft. And not only you got to go back on the draft, you got to hope you could develop a guy. Because that's, we know no matter, where you go, you never know how they're going to pan out when the game really starts, officially late this fall. So, but no, I wish I had an answer for the Texans. I really do. It's one of them things. I'll put it this way, Brian. When I look at it, because it's something I plan on looking, when I look at it, I'll text you what I think, or we'll talk about it next week. Because it was something.
And they have to protect a young quarterback, too, so that, they do know something. But it's my favorite position coach, and it always has been. I love offensive line coaches. And I think now with all the free agency, you mentioned Ryan Kelly, we mentioned all the guys out in Houston, and all the turnover around the league, I think it's the hardest position in the NFL to coach, O-line.
I could be. It could be. You got to be great to do it, and I do think when you have the great ones like Mike Mularkey or Mike Munchak was with the Steelers, Hall of Fame lineman himself. That line was terrific, and it's one of them rare moments where when you see a coach move on. I believe his daughter lived in Denver or somewhere in Colorado, and he moved to Colorado. It wasn't like a dysfunction with the Steelers. He wanted to be close to his family, but when he left, I thought, wow, this is going to hurt them. And the guys that they've had, and they've had a couple over the years, but Mike Munchak, there's certain guys that can just do it well, and he was one of them. You know what, Brett? I think they're all hard. I don't know if the O-line, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. When you're sitting there watching practice and you watch the DBs and secondary guys and the linebacker guys and the D-line, and there's so many, integral parts of each team. So, but put it this way, you got to be in unison. Put it that way. But I also think the O-line is one of the units that they just seem so close knit. There's something about that O-line. It just seems closer knit than all the other positions. I do think that helps in terms of coaches, getting these guys on the same page. But I could be wrong. I was actually. When I go back down to Steelers camp, when we start going down there, when OTAs and stuff, I'll ask those guys what they think, positional wise, and when we have the opportunity to talk to coaches, I'll ask them what they think the hardest is and their hardest is. That's a great question.
The special teams guys, they think it's them, and they always know they can get on TV.
That's right. They sure can.
Yeah. Danny Smith, the Steelers guy. I mean, he's one of the most flamboyant, talkative souls that you can find on a football field. I mean, you talk about old school, and he's about the size of me, so that means he's not very big at all. But you can hear Danny Smith and that Southern draw he has, and he's a treat to talk to. And when he lets it rip, there is no holding back. I know when the first rule changes came up with the kickoffs and stuff. I mean, he said it like it was, and I remember the Pittsburgh PR actually came back into the media room and they said, "Listen, this is what he meant by this.
Yeah.
So just don't write this. This is what he meant." And they weren't saying change the story. They weren't saying that, but they just wanted to clarify. This is what he meant. Please don't translate his words to mean something that they didn't. But he definitely is a fun soul to be around on the football field.
That's good. That's really good stuff. Bo, last thing for you real quick. One more quarterback story I wanted to get to. Daniel Jones signed with the Colts earlier today. It felt like that's the way it was going to be moving, especially after the Colts have said, we want a quarterback competition, somebody to come in here and battle with Anthony Richardson for the starting quarterback role. I know you have had a lot of confidence in Daniel Jones in the past, but if the Colts are saying we want to bring somebody in for competition, that tells me they don't have much confidence in Anthony Richardson, and I don't know how much confidence I have in Daniel Jones. This doesn't feel like a great situation in Indianapolis for the Colts.
Yeah, when you draft Anthony Richards 4th overall in the 2023 draft, and then you're bringing in Daniel Jones, who has a perception of not being a very good quarterback, and they're saying, hey, they're going to fight for it. I love Chris Ballard, but that's not a good look for him or that team moving forward. It just shows you how. Listen, they're not bringing Daniel Jones in to Kansas City to compete with Patrick Mahomes. They're not bringing him in to Cincinnati to compete with Joe Burrow. But when they bring in a guy and they say he's going to compete with your second or third year quarterback who had to take a break after a down because he needed a rest, that's scary stuff that they're dealing with in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it really is.
Bo, with that, we're going to end the segment because I need to take a break. I need to rest up a little bit before we close out tonight.
Right.
You understand that?
That's right. Of course.
Yeah, catch your breath. Yeah,
thank you, Bo. Appreciate it.
That's right.
Yep, have a great week,
I'm going to take a knee.
Thanks, Bo.
Take a knee. Catch your breath. Bye, guys. Have a great week.
Good stuff, Bo.
Thanks, Bo. Bo Marchant joining us every single week to talk the NFL and just so much news coming out now in the NFL.
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, man.
Forever.
Forever.
You never overcome that.
No, you don't. And again, just the fact that Daniel Jones is going in there to compete for the starting job.
If he's the answer, you got a lot of problems.
Yeah, it does not sound like things are going to be good in Indianapolis with the Colts this year, but hey, who knows?
I wish some NFL team would hire me just to run by me who they are thinking about drafting from the SEC. I would have never touched Anthony Richardson.
No. Yeah, no, I'd love that for you. Get on staff somewhere and I am the SEC scout, and I'll tell you, let me let you know who to take, who not to take from the SEC. I mean, heck, most of the guys are coming out of the SEC anyway.
And I'll say it again. Some of these scouts, I'll never forget. And our friend Mike Sadie at Channel 3, big Dolphins fan, I was telling him this story, and he knew immediately the legendary Dolphin scout that did this. So fall of 2019, Tua is going to be the number one pick in the draft. Tanking for Tua, all that going on. And that day at the Alabama-Ole Miss game in Tuscaloosa, the Dolphin scout didn't have a laptop, an ink pen, a stopwatch, iPad, a cell phone. He had nothing. And of course left it at the end of the third quarter, like they all do.
Of course.
And I'm going,
yeah.
What did he do? He kind of drove by today.
Wow. Yeah. Gotta come prepared.
Might should have watched Tua a little more, shouldn't he?
Yeah, maybe. So I like that. I think we should start pushing for that. Get you somewhere as kind of that SEC scout. I'm all in on it. Well, we got to get to a break here in a second, but before we do that, let me remind you about Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team, they're ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport where luxury meets performance. Perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there and test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Football fans, the Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right? Your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from the Mediterranean diet or steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money... For speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still limping along up through here in the construction zone northbound 55 from Mallory all the way up to South Parkway. Again, it's been slow on and off all afternoon long, and it's still slow over here. Again, that's 55 northbound from Mallory up to South Parkway. It's gotten heavier 240 east up by Poplar. Weimer's Jewelry 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got a little less than 30 minutes left in today's show. And college basketball all over the place right now over on ACC Network. We've got another close one in the ACC. Virginia Tech up 1 over Cal with about 15 seconds left in that game. So ACC starting out with a bunch of close games against the bad teams from their conference. Get all those out of the way, and let
2 good games.
Yeah, 2 good games. And so that's a good start to their conference tournament. We already mentioned SEC will start tomorrow, and then we'll really have all the conferences going.
Everything will get going, and tonight's real fun. And 4 bids go out tonight?
That's right. Yeah, 4 championship games tonight. You've got the CAA, they'll get started here in a little bit. The NEC, Horizon, all 3 of those start at 6 o'clock, and then the WCC later tonight on ESPN at 8.
In the NEC, that Central Connecticut State, trying to get to 26 wins, they won't be in Dayton. They will probably be a 15. Every so often, a 15 scares or defeats 2. It could be Central Connecticut State.
Whew. It could be. It could be. I don't like Central Connecticut
Tennessee,
State.
against St. John's.
Oof. I don't know. I think.
I can check Central Connecticut State off my scary team list.
You've got,
I got it in.
You have planted the flag for Central Connecticut State. But yeah, they certainly have the opportunity tonight. And the team they're facing tonight, St. Francis, that they pulled the upset in the semifinals over LIU to get to the championship game. 15-17 on the season. So it will be an uphill battle for them. And so it looks like Central Connecticut, good opportunity for them to clinch another bid. They've been there a couple times now in the NCAA tournament. Another bid for them would be really cool.
Bruce Marshall mentioned this team last Friday. It will be the 12 over the 5 darling, national bracket darling, UC San Diego.
Oh yeah. It feels like a lot of people starting to wake up to UC San Diego, and I give credit to Bruce for pointing that out. Give a lot of credit to Kevin Sweeney, who he pegged them back in December or January when we asked him of who's a mid-major team through conference tournament play to kind of keep an eye on, and he said he picked them as kind of the team to look out for, and they're way high, I believe, on KenPom. I don't know where they're at in the net. I haven't looked for them in the net, but they're really high. Yeah, right. 38 on KenPom, UC San Diego. So they're very high on KenPom.
Isn't that the next? All right, we've been to the moon. So kind of the next play, we've been to the moon with the 16 defeating the 1.
Sure,
Not once, but now twice, right?
That's right, yeah.
2 times. In that the next thing is not even 10 or 11, but 12 or higher winning it all.
Yeah.
But maybe even just double digit, 10 or 11.
Sure, yeah.
For all the fun that we have with the first round upsets, that never has much staying power. It all...
Nah.
Midnight always hits.
Yeah, no, it finds a way to, and you always talk about, it finds a way once you get to that, Elite Eight and certainly Final Four, National Championship, it's the top dogs in there. And so, yeah, maybe that is the next thing. And, if you put 10s in there, I mean, usually that 10 is one of those, power conference teams that have kind of struggled along the way, and so I could see one of those teams, 10 or 11, a team that sneaks in, gets super hot, and kind of goes on that run. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So maybe that is what's next, because everyone always said there's never going to be a time where 16 beats a 1, and then we've seen it happen now twice, and so I think a lot of people would say no, double digit seed, they're never going to win the national championship. I could see them doing that.
That would be wild.
Yeah, no, it certainly would be. So now I'm excited to kind of see how over the next couple of days the bracket kind of solidifies and we really see what this is going to look like. But we talked about it earlier, and we're going to talk about it a lot leading up to Friday afternoon and into the weekend. This is going to be a test case for the committee of what do you do with the University of Memphis. I
saw someone making a great case for Yale to really look out for Yale this year. We know what they did last year.
Yeah.
We know what they lost in portal, but what they still returned. Who was it saying he thought they could win 2 games?
Wow.
Sweet 16. True or false? True or false? You ready?
Okay.
Yale has been to a Final Four. Yale has been to a Final Four.
I'm gonna say no.
Landon?
Then I'll say yes.
Landon's right.
Nope, Brian.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. All right.
Who are from the Ivy? Dartmouth, Penn, and Princeton all time?
Okay. Shout out the Ivy League. But, I mean, you mentioned Yale right now. Joe Lunardi has them as a 13 playing Wisconsin. I could see them, pulling an upset over Wisconsin, and then you get the winner of St. Mary's, McNeese, and I mean, I think it'd be a good game against either. I mean, I could see Yale doing something.
So I hit the Google machine. Last Elite Eight for Yale, and I'm not so sure it wasn't just 8 teams in the tournament. Then I don't know how many was in it. Wasn't many. 1949.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to the 40s.
Go Eli's. Go Bulldogs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't know. That's a really long time. But, yeah, maybe Yale's the team to look out for this year. That would certainly be a fun story. After what they did last year, really, really good win over Auburn. Maybe that's a team to look out for. I don't know.
No matter what, I'm picking Auburn to win. I tell you now, all the way through. When
Wow.
I get my bracket Sunday night,
that's gonna be there.
That's done. And the Yale game last year serves as the inspiration.
Yeah.
Do not let that happen again.
Yeah. Well, we've seen the videos of Pearl in the locker room, getting his guys fired up, and that is his thing. I mean, he can get his team fired up and energized. And so, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. And obviously, a handful of guys that were on that team last year that went through that, really, really fire them up. I guess it was the game where it was Auburn and Kentucky. And they had both locker room pre-games. And, I mean, Pearl is just in there screaming and yelling at his guys, getting them fired up. And then they go over to Mark Pope and the Kentucky one. He's really breaking down the game. All right, this is what we're going to do out there. We're really going to attack the boards and do this. And then they went back to Pearl, and he's just screaming at his guys. I mean, night and day difference. I guarantee you he will use last year's game to fire that team up.
Yeah, that will be a lot of motivation. What's Auburn's motivation in Nashville?
I don't think there's much. Maybe let's at least
check it out of the hotel and get back to the planes and get ready for the tournament.
Maybe it's let's make sure we win one to get the number one overall seed. But they're locked into a one regardless.
It's a little bit like Hoover met for those good teams.
Yeah.
They don't mind an early exit.
No, they don't mind an early exit. And, I think we brought it up
They're
with...
playing for Omaha.
Sure. We brought it up with Brent, I think, a little bit. Last year there were a couple teams in Nashville that, they didn't care if they won or didn't win. Now, what's going to be interesting this year is you have those 3 teams that I think all 3 could make a case for being that final team on the one line. And so they're certainly going to be out there trying to get that 1 seed. But, Auburn can just kind of go out there and enjoy Nashville, see Broadway and, just enjoy the week and then get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Last time John Calipari won an SEC tournament, 2019.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for him this year with Arkansas obviously starting on Wednesday. But I think
they should win Wednesday. They could win Thursday in the rematch. Lost regular season to Ole Miss at Bud Walton Arena. I just don't see them making enough shots to get into Saturday.
Yeah, no, but I think that's going to be the fun thing. We talk about how good this conference is and how good that Wednesday is going to be with some of those matchups. Every year you kind of talk about, well, Wednesday, there's the games, but, the teams that win that, you win that game, and then you're probably going to get knocked out in the next round. What's the farthest one of these teams that opens it up on Wednesday? How far can they get? Can we see one of these teams on Wednesday really go on a run and get to Saturday or even get to Sunday? I think there are teams that if you let them get hot, they could do that, and so I think that's going to be a fun storyline to keep an eye on in Nashville.
Famously in 1994, Memphis we hosted at the Pyramid, the SEC tournament. Classic semifinal game between Kentucky and Arkansas that Rick Pitino was able to beat Nolan Richardson. And I didn't see it, but they said after the game, Nolan Richardson winked at someone in the hallway as the best thing that's happened. He said, I can get my guys home.
Yep.
We can have watch party out at my house, have food, have the media, have everybody out there. He said, we're playing for Charlotte. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what Auburn's going to be doing this week. They are playing for the national championship, and so we'll see how they come out in this conference tournament. Do they have that fire behind them or not? We got overtime in the ACC tournament right now. Virginia Tech
two great
and
games.
Cal in OT. Yeah, two ones that are coming down to the wire. The play in them haven't been great. I just saw it flash up there. Cal in the last 4 minutes of regulation, 1 point, 0 for 5 from the field.
Hit a dry stretch.
That's
Mad Dog Madsen's team.
It sure is.
Mr. Stanford alum, Final Four with Stanford in '98.
That's right. So and wow. So 2 fun games. I hope the rest of the ACC tournament lives up to this. I'd be completely fine if we had a bunch of nail biters in the ACC. Do you think? Who? I asked Brent this earlier. Who can compete with Duke? Is there who can go out there and match up with them in the ACC?
Nobody this year.
It doesn't feel like it. It's fun to see. This is a really good Duke team. I'd love to see. I don't know how the bracket works out, but maybe if you get a Louisville Duke final, I think that'd be fun with what Pat Kelsey's doing with Louisville. He won Coach of the Year in the conference. I think that was announced yesterday. He's done a terrific job, and so it'll be fun to see what Louisville can do in the conference tournament and also in the NCAA tournament.
You're part of the brotherhood. You need to be pulling harder.
I don't know if I'm part of the brotherhood, Brett. I just, I enjoy watching Duke play.
You love Shire.
They got dudes all over the place out there.
They always do, though.
Exactly. I guess that makes them the bad guy, but if you just like good basketball players, Duke usually has them. I don't have any Duke gear, though, and you won't see me rocking any Duke gear. So I don't know if I can claim the brotherhood if I don't rock
For a long
their gear.
time, I was not a Duke hater.
Yeah.
I don't know how I turned into one.
I was just about to ask, what got you? What
I don't
Christian
know what did
Laettner? I hate Christian Laettner.
I didn't like Grayson Allen's antics.
Well, yeah. That's kind of carried over into the NBA with him. You kind of see it.
He's been really restrained though lately.
It has. But
boy, he got labeled, didn't he?
He did, and so you let the smallest thing happen, and it's up. That's Grayson Allen. That's what you're.
And then he had a teammate pulling Grayson Allen antics last night, trying to trip someone.
Glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking that last night.
Matt Infield retweeted someone that had all the language and the dialogue from that whole give and take.
Yeah.
That's repulsive behavior by Kevin Durant.
Oh, I need to go see it. I gotta go find that in this break. I haven't seen that yet. So that was wild last night. Shout out Cam Spencer. That was fun to see from him last night. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. And when we return, we're wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
sis. Did you get your W-2 yet?
Yes, I did.
Well, last year when I told you to file early to get your refund quick?
Yes, I remember.
Well, go ahead and call now, and you can get your refund fast.
Thanks. That's why I love you. Always looking out for your little sis.
To get your taxes filed quick and get your refund fast, go to Brenton Tax Service, located in Midtown Memphis on Madison Avenue. We may not be related to you, but at Brenton Tax Service, we protect you like family.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you. Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stone on here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Indians and trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. Because we make it easy to eat and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to place your next order.
Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the babies crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that the Memphis Tigers cleaned up with the AAC awards. Penny Hardaway, Coach of the Year, PJ Haggerty, Player of the Year, Dane Danger, Newcomer of the Year, Haggerty, Danger, and Tyrese Hunter all named to the 10-man All-AAC first team, while Danger and Hunter also earned spots on the AAC's All-Newcomer team. These were voted on by the head coaches in the conference, and all of it makes sense. When you saw the Tigers, the team they had, and what they did in conference play, you knew Penny Hardaway was the best coach in the conference. PJ Haggerty was the best player in the conference. Dane Danger was the best newcomer in the conference. And all three of those guys deserve to be on first team, especially when you have so many guys on the first team. So congratulations to the Tigers. We had these type of goals before the season started for this team. Go out there and win the conference. Go out there and get some of these awards. And the Tigers doing just that. It's been a fantastic season for the Tigers. And now we'll be keeping an eye on who they play, with that matchup, USF Wichita State on Thursday. Who will the Tigers meet on Friday?
Good stuff for the Tigers.
Yeah, really
great
good stuff.
year. I'm not changing. Great year, no matter where the seed is or what happens next week. And then if they top that and advance past that, it'll speak for itself. What I learned today: Arkansas, 10 seed according to Jerry Palm, with a win on Wednesday, beat Ole Miss on Thursday. Then maybe that 8-9 game against Memphis. Come on, you bunch of pinheads on that goofy committee. Give us these matchups.
Yeah, let's see them. I'd love to see. I mean, you've talked about it a lot, seeing some of these matchups with storylines behind them, with animosity between fan bases. Like, let's see it. Let's get after it in the NCAA tournament. Well, what I could have done without, it's this Daniel Jones signing with the Colts. Look, I don't blame him at all. If you're telling me that there's a team out there that wants to sign me to compete for the starting quarterback job when I was just pushed out, forced out by the New York Giants, and at some points benched for Tommy DeVito, I'm going anywhere that says I can compete for the starting quarterback job. But this just does not feel like a good situation in Indianapolis. When you're going into the regular season saying we're bringing someone in to compete for the starting job, that means you have zero faith in the guy that you drafted so high in Anthony Richardson, and then you're bringing in the guy to battle him, Daniel Jones, that didn't have any success in New York. It just feels like the quarterback position is going to be a wild card, and it all starts with the quarterback. It could lead to some really, really bad play for the Colts this year.
If Daniel Jones is the answer, you have so many problems.
You do. You absolutely do.
Maybe irreparably damaged. Could have done without. Kevin Durant was a real butthead last night, but no chance the refs were going to kick him out of the game. And now the audio that has been made clear is making its rounds, and it's repulsive. He should be suspended. He should be suspended for the acts and for that language.
I think you're right. It was wild last night at FedEx Forum. It was fun to see Cam Spencer getting in the mix with a veteran
Cam
player.
Spencer game. We'll remember that one.
We absolutely will remember what Cam Spencer did last night. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Idaho Central Arena. Don't really know the town, though. Big Sky semis, Montana State versus Northern Colorado in the first semi. The winner gets the winner of the Idaho versus Montana game. Montana, go Grizz. The Montana Grizzlies.
I love it. Yeah, those are going to be some fun games. Beam me to the CAA final. Brett, please accept my apology. Don't know where this game's being played. I don't care. I just want to
We don't know where any of these games.
Delaware
we kind of need to know this, don't we?
Well, maybe.
What do we tell the beaming machine driver? Just take us wherever?
Get me to that game. I'll just punch in the game. You'll send me there. Delaware keeps on winning. They get UNC Wilmington tonight.
Also, could potentially historic night. Could be Leonard Hamilton's last game against Syracuse in the ACC tournament. Bucks at Pacers, NBA, and more NFL news.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night with all of these basketball games, both NBA and college, and then, like you said, all of the NFL news out there. That's all of the time we have. Enjoy your night. Ole Miss baseball coming up next. Their game against South Alabama. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.